What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Vanguard, late night Vanguard election night special. We're here to cover the midterms. We got the pooch in the house. What's up, Zach?
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Brought my road dog Malcolm over here. He's here to give you the heckin' news, okay, everybody? We've got matching sweatshirts on. This is going to be a rock and roll time. Malcolm's going to be here by my side throughout the evening because he was whining earlier about how his dad doesn't spend enough time with him. So he's here to make a debut on the Vanguard, just like the cats every once in a while. He wants me to put him down because this is an uncomfortable position for him. What's up? Say what's up to the people, Malcolm.
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. Like I said, really appreciate all the comments in the chat so far. Let's hit that like button. Everyone get some more eyes on this stream, get some more comrades in the chat because it's going to be a great night. We're going to be breaking down these results as they come in live. And we already got the first super chat of the live stream. What's up, Alex? Thank you so much for the $4.99. I'm scared Zeldin will win and take away abortion rights and weed legalization. Yeah, we're going to be watching that race among many, many others. So stay tuned, you guys. We're going to be breaking down all the results and more. But thank you so much for the super chat, Alex. Really appreciate it. And yeah, it would be absolutely crazy if New York ends up with a Republican governor after tonight, which is a distinct possibility, unfortunately.
Yeah, fortunately though, I would be shocked if Kathy Hochul didn't pull it through. I from what I've seen trickling in, it looks like it's been really dominant for Hochul. She's got like 75% of the count so far. So obviously it's early. We're getting the urban metropolis center of the vote right off the bat. But if I were you, Alex, I would go ahead and say of all the races to be concerned about tonight, Kathy Hochul might have the best shot of any of the Democrats. So shout out to you, Alex. Also shout out to the homie Ty. Gavin and I were just chatting about you like an hour ago, and here you are in the live stream. Hope Texas is treating you well. If you're ever in town, let us know. And shout out to you, Alex Khan, as well for the $4.99 super chat.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex. Really appreciate the super chat. And yeah, what's up, Ty? We miss you, man. Hope you're doing well. Also, thank you so much, Christina. Thanks so much for tuning in, Christina, and for the $4.99 Booze Guard election night. Yeah, Zach and I actually just got back from the bar where we polished off a couple brewskis, and now we are, opening a few more. So always a good time late night on the Vanguard. Have a few drinks in the system, but we're going to try to give you guys the news tonight, even in our inebriated forms.
Yeah, it's fucking horseshit. I was like, Gavin, let's do some tequila shots. Let's get rocking and rolling for these people. And he says all these things about how, well, we should actually be covering the election from like a fucking, somewhat of a intellectual angle. And if I have too many shots of tequila, Zach, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with you. My fucking genetic patterns is not as fucking abused as yours. So yeah, hear me out. Here we go. $4.99.
That's funny. Thank you so much, Christina. I really appreciate that. Hope you guys are enjoying as well, whether it's alcohol, weed, whatever your drug of choice is. But yeah, it's always a fun time here at the Drunk Guard. And thank you so much, Brian Frederick, for the $1.99. Oligarchs win no matter what. What? You're not rooting for Beto O'Rourke and Stacey Abrams, Brian? The real progressives in this country? Yeah, you're not wrong, Brian. That's the unfortunate reality. Regardless of how the results come out tonight, the oligarchy remains in control. I doubt your life will improve much for the better or worse, regardless of what happens. Although there are some important races here, the issues of abortion specifically. I think there's a difference there. But yeah, you're not wrong, Brian.
Here's what's crazy, and I wanted to dive into this. I know, Gavin, you're going to have a lot to say about this as it also impacted you directly this morning. But yeah, the oligarchs win no matter what. I saw a lot of people tweeting about how like the election integrity deniers are going to seize power this election, and then we're never going to have like actual democratic voting again. And I wanted to break the sad news to people that we've been new about this. We haven't had democratic voting today. And in fact, Gavin and I, we jumped through so many bureaucratic hoops to be able to vote today. I wanna just admonish the system as somebody who has time on their hands. I'm a bartender and a YouTube host, so technically I have two jobs, but I'm my own boss in one of them, so I can abscond if I have to in order to fucking, do whatever. Be like, Gavin, we got to record at 2:00 today instead of 1. It's not like nobody breaks my balls about that. But so you have to go through all these hoops. Gavin and I went together. We went to the election board office at Union Station in Kansas City. We fill out these forms. We talked to a very lovely woman that was very helpful to us, encouraging, appreciated the fact that we were young people that wanted to vote. Gavin and I share this collective memory because we were there together. We both filled out the forms. My girlfriend also fills out the form. She's from California. She has to get her driver's license transferred over from a California driver's license to a Missouri license to participate, jumps through all those hopes, and also registers to vote with our new current address, right? Because Kansas City, Missouri, and the entire state of Missouri is basically run by fucking fascists that don't want people to be able to vote. We interviewed the governor, great governor, former governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura, and he talked about how one of the best things about his state was same-day registration. Missouri is like a fucking mile and a half away from same-day registration. You have to do it weeks in advance, and then they try and snub you at every turn when you actually show up to the voting poll. So Gavin comes in spiritual support, even though he's fucking had some bureaucratic mess where they fuck up his voter registration for the second time in a row, which was absolutely fucking hilarious, even though I know it wasn't hilarious for Gavin. He wanted to vote, but just like looking at the Brazil style bureaucratic mess that we all live under. We also are traveling with our homie that lives in our building with us, is a good friend of ours, and then my girlfriend. We all go. The three of us are registered to vote, and we've gotten our fucking little election cards in the mail, and we show up to vote. Myself, all three of us ran into problems as soon as we went downstairs. We all did every single one of these fucking steps, right? We go through it all. Our homie, first, they tell him that he's registered at the wrong place, which is a fucking hilarious because if he's registered in the state of Missouri at all, it's got to be this place because it's the only place in the state of Missouri he's ever lived, which is why I thought it was hilarious that they tried to convince him that he was actually showing up to the wrong voting poll station because the dude had only ever had one address in the state of Missouri. He was from Louisiana, so this was his only fucking address in Missouri. Impossible he would have been registered at somewhere else. My girlfriend, she shows up. She has a Missouri driver's license. She has her voter identification card. She has everything. They try and tell her that she's just not registered in the system. She's going to be unable to vote today. We all had to throw like a piss tantrum about that finally. They're like, oh, under this website, it's showing up that you are registered. Go fucking figure, right? So she gets to vote, and then they tell me that I have to do a provisional ballot, and they're going to make sure that my signature matches the other signature, though otherwise they're going to throw my vote away. All kinds of crazy horseshit mess that stands in the way of this idea that we have some sort of like democratic system in this country where we actually want people to vote. Our system is so fucked up in this country that we look at a 10-hour wait at some university where these kids are desperate to vote. I'll tell you what, I would not wait fucking 10 hours to vote. It took me 30 minutes and I was at the end of my rope. But these 10-hour lines to vote, and we say that somehow a W for democracy. No, every time I see a 5-hour line, I think of all the motherfuckers that looked at it and said, fuck this shit. It's not worth it. I'm not voting for Trudy Bush Valentine after standing in line for 5 hours. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on a little bit of a hill here. But Gavin, what's your beef with the fucking electoral system? Missouri has fucked us all, and they fucked you even worse than me. I got to vote.
Yeah, so I talked about this a little bit on the show yesterday. I tried my damnedest to register. We went together, filled out the form, did all the proper steps, crossed all my T's, dotted all my I's, etc. And again, this is the second time I've gone through this ordeal in Missouri. And then yesterday, the day before the election, I get a fucking letter in the mail saying, oh, by the way, your social security number didn't process. I'm not a fucking illegal immigrant. Like, I have a fucking real social, I have a driver's license number that I accurately put on the form. Apparently not good enough because I've been disenfranchised for the second time here in Missouri, unable to vote in this election. And even though I wasn't super excited to go out and vote for Trudy Bush Valentine, who's the fucking billionaire establishment Democratic nominee for the Senate or anyone like that, I was really excited to vote for legal weed here in Kansas City. One thing that I was actually super excited to vote for obvious fucking reasons, right? Check the vote for legal weed, right? Nope, can't even do that. Can't even fucking do that. Also, Zach was referring to Brazil the movie, not Brazil the country, which actually has far superior election systems than we do here in America. So no shade on Brazil the country. The elections were available in a very short time. As Michael said, he was referring to the dystopian Orwellian Terry Gilliam movie from 1985, Brazil.
Yeah, and just a quick, this is important because a lot of people misunderstand why it takes us so long for us to get our election votes in a country like America versus a country like Brazil. And Matt Leck, shout out to Matt Leck, the realest one at the Majority Report over there. I fucking like that guy. He was tweeting about this earlier, and he was like, the Republicans basically have this game where they mandate that states have their own election results process. And then when that fucking process fucks up because all of the states that Republicans run are underfunded and they can't keep up with any national policy because there is no national policy when it comes to elections because all elections are state done. that's why we don't have the efficiency that a country like Brazil does, because Brazil has all of their election laws at a federal national level, whereas in the United States it's state by state, which allows, states like Minnesota to do the progressive thing and allow same-day registration. States like Illinois, where I first voted in a presidential election, had same-day registration, but a state like Missouri has the most fucking atrocious anti-democratic voter registration laws out of anyone. They literally, I have lived in the state of Missouri for like a year now. I brought my lease. I have a Missouri birth certificate. I was born in this goddamn city. And they're trying to tell me like, oh, we have to verify that you're a real person by your fucking signature over here. Why don't you take a provisional ballot? I'm like, get fucked, guy. I've lived here my whole life. But anyway.
Yeah, so let's check out a couple of these results as they begin to trickle in. For the most part, what's in so far is the obvious stuff. And also, thank you so much, Jonathan, for the $5. What's up, Van Boys? Cracking up a couple of cans of Guinness for the election watch party. I happen to be a big fan of Guinness myself, Jonathan. So that's a quality choice right there. Did you get those cans with the little nitrogen balls at the bottom? That's what's really lit about drinking Guinness out of a can. And yeah, I know, Zach. We'll get to the other super chats in a second. But thank you so much, Jonathan.
Yeah, I've never been a big Guinness guy, Jonathan, but the fucking, I do know what Gavin's talking about. I used to drink with this dude in college, and he was like a fucking big Guinness drinker, and he was like, oh, the nitrogen ball at the bottom and all that kind of shit. Anyway, shout out to you. Guinness makes
was he like fucking Danish or something?
No, he was a fucking Chicagoan, but I don't fucking know. He's, hey.
The nitrogen bowl at the bottom.
yeah. Irish people, they made Guinness, Gavin. Hello, I'm introducing
That wasn't even an Irish accent. That was like a Danish or something, like a German accent.
This enthusiast over here, or accent linguist over here, you're busting my balls over a fuck. No, I'm kidding. Shout out to you, Jonathan.
Yeah, thanks so
You're
much.
about to lead to the end of the Vanguard.
And by the way, it does look like J.B. Pritzker has been reelected in Illinois. Big shocker, right? Yeah, that was not a shock at all, but that is some news. It looks like also, wow, Chuck Schumer won reelection. Real nail biter that was. Yeah, like I said, mostly so far it's pretty obvious stuff. Marjorie Taylor Greene, whose racist and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories put her on the fringes of the Republican Party, was reelected on Tuesday and is poised to play a more central role in the next Congress. So yeah, again, obviously Marjorie Taylor Greene winning reelection. Not a very competitive race there in Georgia. A couple other kind of obvious stuff. Sarah Huckabee Sanders winning the governor's race in Arkansas.
I did want to talk to you about that one, Gavin, because I wondered, and obviously we knew that she was going to win, and her dad, her dad was Mike Huckabee. Oh yeah, it's on the screen right here. Daughter of former, Mike Huckabee, who then had the show Huckabee on Fox News. I mean, she is like a dynasty, like of the Republican world. I remember when her dad had his fucking super cringe show, and he got blasted for saying shit like oh, the most important thing Hillary Clinton ever did was be the fucking wife of the president, and then everybody got like canceled. He got canceled for other shit too, but anyway, his daughter was press secretary. Do you think that there's any chance, because in the back of my mind, the like most just laugh out loud outcome for the Republican race is that Donald Trump takes Sarah Huckabee Sanders to be his vice president. Now, I know she didn't make it to the end of his run, but now that she's governor of Arkansas, she has some serious clout. There are a lot of Republicans out there that are like old school Republicans that know the name Huckabee. I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think there's any chance that Trump goes with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, or are you just too married to the Tulsi idea?
I don't think she's charismatic enough, to be honest. I mean, I guess she made a decent press secretary for Trump, but I don't think she's charismatic enough to lead a ticket, or to be on a ticket rather. So it's possible,
Pence wasn't
given their who?
Oh, I was saying Pence wasn't very charismatic.
True enough. We'll see. It's definitely possible. I haven't really thought much about it. I just think she's so unlikable to be. I'm not trying to be like rude, but goddamn, she's so fucking unlikable. I thought she was anyway, it does look like she has been elected the governor of Arkansas. Again, totally predictable. There have been some other interesting results here. Let me show you guys this one. Gen Z officially has a seat in Congress. Maxwell Alejandro Frost, a 25-year-old Democrat, won his election on Tuesday in Florida's 10th congressional district over Calvin Wimbish, a Republican. I believe Maxwell Frost was endorsed by Bernie Sanders. So I guess there's a small W for progressives in Florida. Any comment on that one, Zach?
I mean, it's tight to get some young people in Congress, that's for sure. It'll be interesting to see how this guy develops. I mean, he's in a congressional seat, which is fucking crazy. To be 25 years old and win a congressional seat is a pretty big deal. So I'll be interested to see what that guy fucking has to offer. To be honest, I haven't fucking followed this though.
Yeah, me neither. I guess still pretty cool. Also, thank you so much, Bookworm Skates, for the 199. What's up, Vanguard late stream? Everyone hit that like button. Thank you so much for the super chat. And yes, everyone take Bookworm Skates advice. Hit that like button, guys. Great way to support the show, 100% for free. Get some more comrades in the chat. Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much, Bookworm Skates.
Yeah, shout out to you, Bookworm Skates. We need online voting. Yeah, look, I'm not antiquated when it comes to these things like online voting. Gavin and I talked about this sometimes. Like, you're telling me we can do our banking online. I can apply for a mortgage. I can buy a car. The only thing that the elites in this country value is fucking money. If we can protect our money online, we can vote online and protect those votes. I swear to God, we can do it. Because if you're like, no, people would just devote a bunch of energy into hacking that shit. You don't think that people have devoted a lot of fucking energy into hacking US Bank, into Chase Sapphire? Hello, they have a full flock of people around the clock making sure that doesn't happen. And if you try, you go to jail. And they lock you in a fucking concrete box where you can't access the internet. Okay, I think we could do that for the fucking elections. I don't see why that would be such a stretch. I think you could make a big deal out of how you would just take all of the elite of the elite from the tech world, and on these fucking 21 days or whatever, where we're accepting early voting and online voting and all that kind of shit, and they make sure that these motherfuckers can't mess with it. And whether that's on the blockchain or any other kind of shit I don't understand, I don't really care. I think that if we can make and I get where people are coming from with the paper ballots. I also agree. Paper ballots do a good job because it's harder to fuck with them. Just please don't let them try and put bloating on the blockchain. Yeah, Ty, I'm not a smart guy. I'm not as smart as Ty. Ty is way, way smarter than I am. So if you want to chat and give people the best alternative for how they can securely vote online, I understand the argument that we should have paper backups for everything. But Ty, and I don't know where you fall on this argument, we're also going to be able to reach way more people. Like, there's always going to be a barrier to voting if you have to go to a polling location, right? Whether it's just, oh my gosh, it's too much of an inconvenience, whether or not it's like I can't miss the hours at work, whether or not it's like I don't have a car to get me. And like, my polling place was 1.6 miles away. I'd be goddamned if I was walking that on a cold November day if I lived in somewhere else in the fucking country where it was shit cold outside. Like, you know what I mean? Fortunately, I'm privileged enough to have a car. I have friends that could drive me if I didn't have a car, but not everybody's in that situation. So I would be curious to know what you think the most effective solution is. But I'm just not opposed to voting online. I don't think that that's a problem. I want more people voting because I think more people will vote for socialism. As a Westchester, New York resident, I have faith in them with their anti-Trump and pro-choice beliefs. Well, shout out to you, Alex Kahn. I'm not from Westchester, New York, but if those East Coasters can do one thing, it's be anti-Trump. I've learned that from them.
Yeah, I think the Democrat will probably pull it out in New York. I think they currently have a slight lead. What's her name? Kathy Hochul. Yes. Yeah. So I think that that's probably going to be secure for the Dems. Thank you so much, Alex. And also thank you, BW in Wisconsin. Gavin Buzzkiller, bring on the tequila. Hey, man, I'm trying to get drunk now, but if I get too drunk before the show, I'll not be able to keep my shit together. I'll start slurring my words. I'm already slurring my words like a motherfucker, so barely keeping it together as it is. But we're trying our best over here to bring you guys accurate information, articulately delivered. So thank you so much, BW.
Yeah, Gavin's like that kid that gets hit in the head and they're like, oh, hey, what's 2 + 2? There, he doesn't know that anyway. No, I'm just kidding. He could have handled the tequila boost beforehand. I took one, but hey, it is what it is. Took one for the team over here. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Marco Rubio have won re-election. I'm deeply shocked to hear this news. I personally can't believe it. I thought that Val Demings really had a fucking chance, but I guess not.
Yeah. This again, pretty predictable results. Some more predictable results coming in over here. It looks like, God damn it, I have so many tabs open right now. It looks like Rand Paul has secured re-election over Charles Booker, which is unfortunate, but again, totally predicted. Yeah, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky has been reelected. Fortunately, as we predicted, Charles Booker was not able to take down Rand Paul. Any comment on that one, Zach?
No, that kind of comes with the wave of like victories that I was pretty sure were going to happen. Like Jerry Moran was up against this guy in Kansas. What's his name? Mark Holland, I think, was who the people voted on in Kansas. Either way, Jerry Moran ran away with it. He's been in the fucking Senate for a while now. Same with James Lankford in Oklahoma, ran away with it. Basically everywhere we kind of thought about it being a toss-up, it was going to be a toss-up. Did we say JD Vance won? Did that happen also? No, okay. I was wondering about that because I'm looking at it and it looks like it's still neck and neck over there. But either way, yeah. I mean, by the map that I'm looking at on my predicted account, where it's like already been called, everything that's been called already, we kind of knew about. Nothing that was really close has gone like shock another way, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah, and it does look like Warnock is currently in the lead in Georgia with 57% of the vote in. I do predict that Warnock will defeat Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker is such a bad candidate, such a compromised candidate. I can't imagine he takes that from the incumbent. And also, speaking of JD Vance, it does look like Vance is currently leading with about 60,000 votes. I do fear that Vance will triumph in this race, which is unfortunate given that he's really one of the worst, most disgusting and fascist Republicans currently running, totally bankrolled by Peter Thiel. Just a total Trump sycophant. So that's unfortunate, but I do think that JD Vance will triumph over Tim Ryan. Also, shout out to you, Brian. Thank you so much. Could Trump and DeSantis run on a unity ticket? Ooh, wow. If they could put their differences aside, that would be a formidable ticket. However, Trump is a petty motherfucker. Do not underestimate the pettiness of Donald Trump. After having Mike Pence suck his cock for 4 years straight, he still threw that motherfucker under the bus. And the dude really does value loyalty and personal relationships more than just about anything else. And because of the bad blood between Trump and DeSantis, I doubt they could, settle those differences, put those differences aside in order to unite. I doubt that. But if it was to happen, that would certainly be a formidable ticket. Thoughts on that, Zach?
Hot take over here, Galvin. I don't think it does much to Donald Trump to bring on Ron DeSantis, because here's why. Donald Trump is a huge fucking name. Everybody knows the name Donald Trump, and you already have an opinion about Donald Trump. Whoever his VP is, I don't think makes a huge difference to a lot of people. Maybe it does on the margin, which is why Mike Pence was the smartest VP position that he could have gone with in 2016, because he needed to shore up the evangelical vote. And without Mike Pence, he was going to have a hard time with it. We all remember the Access Hollywood take, grab him by the pussy, that kind of shit. Really, it was a thorn in his side with the evangelical community. He had to do something to deal with that. So he brought on Mike Pence, and that dude, Indiana, long time, like fucking crazy ass Christian conservative, shored up some of those votes, I'm sure. But Ron DeSantis' appeal, I think, to a lot of Republicans is that he is this quasi pseudo populist that Donald Trump pretended to be, but he is a little more buttoned up than Donald Trump was. He's still slightly more by the book. Like, we've all agreed that, Ron DeSantis probably wouldn't have just outright denied an election, done the January 6th. We talked to Jen Perlman about this, how, he was in the military. He kind of through all of his hypocrisies and his fascism and everything, he's has a little bit of that pomp and circumstance of this is the way it's done kind of a nest to him. But the problem is with combining those forces, I think it negates what makes DeSantis popular to people, and it negates a little bit of what makes Donald Trump popular to people, which is for him to say, fuck you, Ron DeSantis, you better suck my cock for another decade before I'd ever think about endorsing you, you better do everything I say and bow to me like Chris Christie, my fucking lapdog. I'm I'm going to call your wife ugly like I did Ted Cruz and then get you to endorse me and fucking bow to me and all these kind of, that's the energy that people like about Donald Trump because it helps him keep up this like obviously fake as hell alpha male appearance. Like Donald Trump is a little bitch, no doubt about it. Like that guy's never stood up to anybody in his fucking life. Okay. But he has to like create this alpha male energy behind his massive wealth, whatever. So again, I just think they're kind of at odds with each other, which is why I think the smartest play for DeSantis, even though I don't want this to happen, I just think it's the smartest play, is the one he's going to go with, which is in 4 years he'll run and then he'll dominate the Republican primary.
I don't know if he waits 4 years, man. A lot of people said that about Chris Christie in like 2012. Then he waited until 2016, and it was too late for him. The party had moved on, but it's definitely possible that he'll have a moment in 2024 or something like that if he's able to sustain the support from the Republican
Where
base.
else will the party go?
I don't fucking know, man. But either way, it does look like Democrat Josh Shapiro is the projected winner of Pennsylvania governor election. He will defeat Republican Doug Mastriano. And that's a good sign for John Fetterman because all the people that voted for Josh Shapiro as governor almost certainly also voted for John Fetterman for Senate. And this is also important because Doug Mastriano is an election denier. He's an insane Trump sycophant. So it is actually pretty meaningful that Josh Shapiro is the winner of this race. I do think that bodes well for Fetterman in Pennsylvania. And apparently Shapiro is about to take the stage to declare victory, give his victory speech, etc. And yeah, Mastriano, totally insane. One of the most insane, candidates statewide or nationwide. I mean, so yeah, this is definitely an interesting, important result.
Yeah, that's probably the best news that could come to the Fetterman campaign right now, because this is early and this is definitive at the candidate level. And look, maybe there's some chance on the margin that they do this. We talked about this with Ryan Grimm, where sometimes what states will do is they want to like split the balance of power. I call it a lot of bird brain logic. That Elon Musk thing where it's like, oh, you should balance it out and make sure nothing gets done for anybody. And it's like, no, that's not. But it is true that that's how a lot of people think. I have it on good authority that the Fetterman campaign has crudite in his campaigns. Crudite. Oh, crudite. LOL. The fucking that's funny, Ty. I'm fucking dumb and I pronounced that wrong and botched your humor, but that was funny.
Yeah, the crudite episode was so funny. That was back when Fetterman was still going real strong in his race against Dr. Oz before it kind of got derailed by all the stroke controversies. But yeah, that's funny, Ty.
It's pronounced crudite and not crudite.
Yeah, crudite. Crudite. LOL.
I don't fucking know. I know what it is. It's chopped vegetables, but
the whole point was that, remember Dr. Oz was at the grocery store and he was like
veggie tray.
Yeah, he was like trying to get some crudite, and everyone was like, "What the fuck is crudite, bro? Like, only an elitist motherfucker would be shopping for some crudite."
This shows you how dumb as rocks I am, guys. I took 4 years of French.
Also, thank you so much, Christina. Once again, I disagree with Alex, but I hope I'm wrong. I'm from Long Island, New York, and I think the Republicans have a good shot for governor. Yeah, we're gonna keep you guys updated on that race as well. Looking forward to seeing the results in New York. But yeah, it does look like Josh Shapiro, projected winner of Pennsylvania, definitely bodes well for Fetterman, who I'm looking to see if there's any more results coming in for Fetterman. It looks like he is currently holding a lead with 19% reporting. It looks like he's up by quite a hefty margin, although again, with just 19% reporting, it's tough to really, put much stock in these results. However, it does look like Fetterman is remaining competitive in this race, guys. I don't think we can call it for Oz yet, despite Zach's pessimism the other day on stream. Oh, he has a 5% chance, bro.
She lies and says she's in love with him. Can't find a Fetterman. Can't find a Fetterman. Cheers for another night guard. Yeah, we're unhinged guard tonight, baby. I came in with no plans for this stream, but shit talking and election results, and I am waiting for them to trickle in. Although, honestly, to refer back to Christina, I think you can relax a little bit. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if Kathy Hochul loses this election. I don't live in New York. I know you're from Long Island and all. I just think I would be shocked. I would be shocked. But I said earlier I'd be shocked if Fetterman ran away with it. That was a few weeks ago. So So much for my election prognostication.
Also, we got some bad news for Mr. Beto O'Rourke.
LOL.
We got some bad news for Mr. Beto O'Rourke. Greg Abbott has won re-election in Texas. What's that? Beto O'Rourke's third L in a row. Remember, he ran against Ted Cruz in 2018. Everyone made a big deal about, oh, he's going to win. He's going to win. Nope, he lost. Then he ran for president, got absolutely destroyed, had to drop out in shame. Then he decided, oh, maybe I can run for governor of Texas. Apparently that wasn't a good idea either, because now he's had his third massive L in a row. And I'm not celebrating, I don't fucking like Greg Abbott, but come on, Democrats, why are you putting up these fucking losers, these perennial fucking losers? Stacey Abrams, Beto O'Rourke, move on. Let's get a fresh fucking slate, guys. What is going on here?
It's clearly just their soft racism showing, just like you, Gavin. It's Beto. Excuse me.
A Beto O'Rourke.
Do you know what that reminds me of? His name is Robert, right? And Gavin and I, when we were in fucking elementary school, we went to the school called Walnut Grove, and we did not have like a robust Spanish department, but twice a week, instead of going to physical education, we would go into this like fucking room and we would watch videos in Spanish. And the guy was this guy named Roberto Morris. And that's what I think of every time I think of fucking Beto O'Rourke, where it's this white guy with a mustache where he's like, hola, me llamo Roberto Morris. And he's like a fucking, gringo kind of guy where he's like, hello, rolling his R's for no reason. Anyway, that's what I think of whenever I think of Beto.
I remember that shit, bro. Senora Morris or whatever the fuck. Yeah. That was funny. But yeah, thank you so much, BW in Wisconsin. Mercury Petty 2024. Only dead rockers can save us. Yeah, man. That's true. You're talking about Freddie Mercury and I was like, what are you talking about at first? No, Freddie Mercury and what's his name? Tom. What's the guy's name? Tom Petty?
You got there. I was waiting to see if you left him hanging on Tom Petty. Who's that guy? That one dead guy. That one dude. The man. He wrote the songs. What's his name? Petty.
Yeah, thank you so much, BW in Wisconsin. Really appreciate that. And yeah, we're trying to keep you guys updated in real time. Looks like Democrat Jared Polis wins re-election in the Colorado governor's race. Interesting.
Shocker, Colorado went blue.
Right.
This is by the numbers so far. How's Ron Johnson looking, BW in Wisconsin?
Yeah, what do you think about that one, BW? Are you rooting for Mandela Barnes? Anyway, thanks for the $5. David Sirota was hero worshiping Shapiro. I'll have to check that out. I haven't been keeping track of what David Sirota has been saying. But thank you so much for the $1.99, Brian.
Yeah, Brian, I'm gonna ask for the receipts on that. I have a tough time believing that fucking David Sirota was in congruence with fucking Ben Shapiro. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying I want to see it for my own eyes.
Josh Shapiro, the new Democratic governor of Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. That makes way more sense because I was like, look, man, I know people have criticisms of fucking David Sirota, but this man is not in the corner of Ben Shapiro. Okay, that makes sense. Gavin's gonna go to the bathroom, so I guess I'm gonna take the wheel guard over here for a second. Also, shout out to you, Alex. Duchess is very similar to Westchester. I'll make Gavin put your super chat on the screen when he gets back. I can't do it unless I get out of my chair and go over to the control panel, which I'm unwilling to do, but Westchester is very anti-Trump and pro-choice. Westchester, I have it on good authority. I think that's Kyle's district. Kyle Klinsky from Secular Talk. And what's his face? He was the Justice Democrat from over there, Mondaire Jones, but he lost re-election. He was a one-term congressman. That's pretty embarrassing. So yeah, that's about what I know about Westchester, Alex. And NYC is doing great for Hochul. Yeah, I imagine it's kind of like when I lived in Chicago, right? Chicago will if the turnout is high enough in the city, in the urban metropolis, it's going to carry it for the rest of the state just because like NYC's population is 8.5 million people, give or take 8.4 million people. And then the New York State population is like, I mean, I guess it's like almost half the people in the state of New York live in New York City, right? And then, I mean, if you include Westchester and the like surrounding areas, that's definitely the case. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's gonna be pretty good for Hochul. Hey Zach, what are you drinking? I was drinking a few beers earlier at the bar, but I've settled for a nice cup of peppermint tea to settle the evening down. Yeah. But anyway, I'm looking around. I'm thinking that I'm happy that I pulled out all of my predicted bets early, because there was a while where I was really playing the markets and I was just riding every kind of wave. Michael Bennett looks like he's going to take Colorado, by the way. Michael Bennett, one of the most forgettable Democratic presidential candidates of the last decade, has, on good authority, looks like he's going to retain his seat. Again, Colorado's governor went blue. Typically, the Senate race will follow that, though not always. What would be crazy is that right now, Mike Franken is in the lead in Iowa, but I think it's almost impossible that Chuck Grassley loses. Yeah, I don't know. Looks like JD Vance is probably going to secure it, and looks like it's still a toss-up with Pennsylvania. But Gavin, you're back. What's your prognostication to share?
Yeah, sorry guys, I was just grabbing another beer. But yeah, thank you so much, Alex. Really appreciate that. And yeah, I think that Hochul is going to probably pull it out, but we'll keep you guys updated on that one. LOL, Beto. They've been saying that for a long time, and he has yet to win a single fucking election.
He's so unlikable and uncharismatic, and he just had the one thing people forget. Do you guys remember? This is how far back it was when Beto had his moment, when he actually was interesting to people. But the one thing that blew up Beto and made him a national phenomenon instead of just a bullshit guy that had no chance of beating Ted Cruz and still lost in his one race, it was one video clip where he, like, 3/4 of the way goes to bat for Colin Kaepernick. Now, Colin Kaepernick hasn't been relevant in his own right in like 4 years. Okay, so the fact that Beto hasn't been writing his entire political career off of one YouTube video where he talks about how Colin Kaepernick has the right to kneel during an NFL football game, something he hasn't participated in years and years and years. Yeah, pretty big stretch to think that that guy's going to be the like savior of the Democratic Party. Inflation.
Sorry, guys. But it does look like, according to political polls, that with 9% counted, Mandela Barnes has an 11-point lead. So not really all that meaningful, given the fact that it's only 9% reporting. But still interesting results coming out of Wisconsin. Let's hope that Ron Johnson is defeated. Abigail Spanberger has been reelected. She's the fucking shit-lib Democrat that blamed all the squad members for supporting defund the police. She was like, all these fucking defund the police people are going to cost the Democrats the House. So she's like one of the worst corporate right-wing pro-police Democrats, but it does look like she's been reelected. Not terribly surprising. Still hoping for some more results coming out of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. Those are the races that I'm monitoring most closely. Also, thank you so much, Brian, for the $4.99. Inflation and abortion were the top two most important issues to voters in the exit polls. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, which is crazy because it kind of leads you into diametric positions, right? And Brian, you're the perfect guy to have this conversation with, because I know you see through the corporate duopoly. You're not one of those dudes that's a blue no matter who guy, but you're also a rational thinker. So I wonder what your 2 cents is on this. I mean, if you're a voter, do you abstain? Like, I'll put my cards on the table. I showed up to vote today, right? I don't have my sticker on this sweatshirt, but I have it on my other one, and I voted. But I did not vote for Trudy Bush Valentine. Okay, I did not. Abortion's already outlawed in Missouri. Okay, it is. Do I radically oppose that? Of course I do. So much so that I allegedly, to look cool, and this is only fiction, may or may not have, definitely not have voted in the Kansas primary election in order to make a decision on that. Anyway, it's a decision. It's something that I value, but I wasn't going to vote for fucking heiress to the Bush fucking Anheuser-Busch fortune and, neoliberal fucking Democrat. I wrote in Daffy Duck for the fucking Senate race, right? So where do people like us vote, Brian? I voted on the actual direct democracy initiatives, which was the only thing I actually gave a shit about. The only things I really filled out on my ballot was to say that I wanted every single judge that I could fire to be fired. I voted no on all the judges, per usual for, fucking SACAB folks. And then I voted for legal weed, and I wanted $50 million allocated for affordable housing in my city. Those were good things that I could vote on. But if you're in a state where you're just voting on the like Senate race or whatever, like, what do you do? The Democrats aren't doing anything about inflation. How could I dare fucking reward them with my vote? They also didn't codify Roe when they had the opportunity. If they did, I would have fucking voted for them. I would have said, God damn it, at least inflation and Roe, they gave us $15 minimum wage. Maybe Joe had given everybody $2,000. If he had just done the bare fucking minimum, I would have done it. Didn't do the bare minimum. So what do people like us do?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brian. Really appreciate that, man. And yeah, it looks like John Fetterman's still in the lead. Let's check on this result. Interesting news coming out here. Shout out to David Griscom. He is reporting on Twitter. Not a big surprise, but a big damn deal. Bernie endorsed Greg Cesar, won his race in Texas, and will be a huge voice for working people in this country. Yeah, Greg Cesar is actually one of the few interesting progressive Democrats that's been on the ballot in this midterm election cycle, and it does look like he's pulled out this victory in Texas. So that's again a little bit of good news coming out of Texas. A decent progressive getting into office. So nothing to get terribly excited about necessarily, but still interesting and worth discussing. So that's a small W, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be weird because we're going to get maybe some of these interesting people, a huge voice for working people in this country, as David says. And I mean, I get it. David's from Texas, so this is an exciting W for them. But unfortunately, the Democrats are going to lose the House like a motherfucker, and there's not going to be a goddamn thing that gets passed through the House in the 2 years that Greg Cesar is in the House of Representatives, in the halls of Congress. He will be there in the most unproductive Democratic session that we've seen, since Obama's administration, probably. With a Democratic charge, it is going to be just another 2 years of fucking trying to prioritize January 6th, which will be even further and further away from the mind of the public and all these different things. And then it'll be all about 2024 and how Trump needs to go to jail and the indictment is looming and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Not trying to be a Debbie Downer. Shout out to Greg Cesar. I'm sure he worked his ass off to get in there. It's just a bummer that we're not going to be able to do a goddamn thing with a guy like that the second that he gets into office. Because of and also it should be pointed out, redistricting played a massive role in the fucking congressional takeover that the Republicans are doing. But you would think that the Democrats would have had a better game plan for that, because I remember when Gavin and I started this channel, we were like, if they lose in 2020, if they don't get their shit together at the state local level by 2022, the redistricting is going to be crazy. Sharice Davis, who in her own right is a snake and took a bunch of dark money to beat our homeboy Brent Welder in her race in Kansas back in 2018. She's fucked tonight too, because of redistricting and the fact that they made her district hold way more Republicans than Democrats just because it happened to be a Kansas district that won blue. So yeah, but anyway, what's that reaction, Gavin? Did we get some more bad news?
Oh no, I've just been looking at some other stuff. It does look like, according to the New York Times, Nicole Malliotakis, the only Republican representing part of New York City in Congress, has won re-election. Interesting. Don't know much about the 11th district, but yeah, it does look like she's won re-election. Again, not a ton of results coming in so far as to the races that we're really monitoring right now, that being Pennsylvania Senate race, Wisconsin Senate race, Georgia Senate race, etc. But I keep refreshing New York Times and a couple other sources to see if there's any other news. Also, shout out to you, BW in Wisconsin. Thank you so much once again for the $5. Kentucky anti-abortion constitutional amendment losing. Hey, let me look that up real quick so we can talk about that. But that's awesome. Sounds a lot like what happened in Kansas.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, if it would be one of those similar stories. Obviously, Kansas just overwhelmingly reelected Jerry Moran, who is a man I have absolutely zero political agreements with. He's a, fucking buy the book, cut taxes for the rich, fucking send our people to war, lick the boot of the establishment kind of Republican. And yet just what 2 months ago, Gavin, the people of Kansas voted to protect abortion. This is the same kind of a deal in Kentucky with Rand Paul, Rand Paul, and the fact that he beat Charles Booker, but they're going to also protect the anti-abortion constitutional amendment. And also just a quick follow-up to the New York's 11th congressional district. I just looked that up. That's Staten Island. I would have thought it was upstate New York that would have gone with the one red. But apparently it's Staten Island.
They were saying in New York City, the only red.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. Obviously, there are Republican, congressional, like there's people in New York State that are Republicans, but within the city of New York, and it makes sense that would be Staten Island breaking for the Republicans. But yeah, also, thank you so much, Linda, for the $5. Has there been any news about the Senate race in North Carolina? We've been keeping an eye on that, and right now it does look like the Republican candidate, I forget Ted Budd is up against Democrat Sherry Beasley. And I do predict that Ted Budd will win. He's been predicted to win. The polling has been suggesting that he has a sizable lead over Democrat Sherry Beasley. But of course, this race is of interest to us because we have been chatting with Green Party candidate Matthew Ho, who's a really impressive candidate out of the Green Party. And we weren't expecting him to win this race, but I think he ran a really impressive campaign despite all odds. Really uphill battle for the guy. I'm hoping to see more from him as a Green Party candidate, potentially 2024 presidential candidate. So yeah, definitely impressed by Matthew Ho. I think he made a good showing here in North Carolina, despite the fact that he was fucked at every opportunity. And basically the Democrats went out of their way to get him off the ballot. And luckily he was able to remain on the ballot. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like he's going to pull it out as predicted, but it does look like Ted Budd will probably be the next senator from North Carolina.
Yeah, I have a feeling. Yeah, I think it's basically from what I'm looking at on the betting markets, it's looking like it's a pretty surefire result for Bud over here. And yeah, Matthew Ho was a great candidate. He's a great man. He is a legitimate comrade. This is a man that wants to represent the people of North Carolina, that wants to take on the corporate duopoly, that wants to represent and fight for working class Americans. And in spite of all of that, in spite of the fact that he was probably one of the best candidates that could have taken up the mantle to run for the Green Party in any state, all 50 states, I think that this does let people know we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do. If this is one state, North Carolina, guys, we're looking at 23,000 votes to 1.5 million votes. Like, we got a lot of work to do to get the Green Party off the ground and to get people, on board with voting third party.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Linda. Really appreciate it. And also thank you so much, Norfolk and Chance, for the $20. Really, really appreciate that generous super chat. Watching in the UK. Thanks for tuning in from across the pond. Used to watch with my uncle who lived in Connecticut, but lost him in 2020. So thanks for being my company tonight. Well, absolutely, Norfolk. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry to hear about that. So glad to be able to provide you some company, man.
Yeah, that's wild that you were listening to us 2 years ago. Not many people were. Shout out to you. Obviously, rest in peace to your uncle. He must have been a great fucking guy if he was listening to our YouTube show. So shout out to you. Glad to keep you company and really appreciate that generous donation, Norfolk.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Norfolk meant they used to watch the midterm, like election night coverage with their uncle, or if they used to watch the Vanguard with their uncle. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in. And if, in fact, you used to watch the Vanguard with your uncle, that's especially cool. So thank you so much for being a supporter of ours and a viewer of ours since the very beginning. We've been, 2020 seems so long ago, but that is the year we started this channel. So thank you so much, Norfolk. Really, really appreciate that generous super chat. Hopefully you enjoyed the coverage. We're both a little bit drunk, but that's how it goes here at the Night Guard.
Oh, I'm still about my wits. I would say I've got a pretty fairly straight edge. Put me to the test, Gavin. Ask me a complex math equation.
I don't know shit about math, but yeah, let's check out. Apparently Herschel Walker has taken the lead in Georgia, so that's definitely unfortunate. Yeah, people are saying Herschel Walker is winning. So that's not good. He pulled ahead in Georgia. So, he is beating Warnock. Definitely interesting. 30,000 votes. 30,000 votes, Zach saying.
Here's what I can tell by a brief look at the map of what precincts have already reported. I haven't spent a ton of time in Georgia, but I've been to, oddly enough, every single one of the cities that voted blue. So we've got Atlanta, Athens, Augusta, Savannah, and Macomb, Georgia are like the blue ones, and they've already gotten most of their fucking votes reporting. It's the red little, notches, Coffee County, Sumter County. We're not getting a lot in from there, and I imagine that's where we're going to get the redness. How many? I mean, it does still look like there are some votes to be counted in like Fulton County and DeKalb County. That will make up part of the broader Atlanta um, suburbs, right? That will go blue. So it's a matter of how fat the turnout was there. But Jesus Christ, if Herschel Walker gets into the Senate, I mean, R.I.P. Fucking America. This is just the most clumsy shit. Like, you can be like a dumb as rocks, obvious fraud, former football player. I mean, we already knew this with Donald Trump, guys. We're not learning anything new. You can be an obvious fraud and get into fucking American politics, right? Dr. Oz might win tonight. Another fucking fraud that just decides to get into American politics. But Jesus Christ, you hope that people are smarter than that, and that turns out they're not.
Also, let's not forget, as this tweet points out, that Georgia actually has an interesting system where if one of the candidates doesn't surpass 50%, it will lead to a runoff. So even if Herschel Walker surpasses Raphael Warnock in the vote percentage tonight, it's still possible it'll go to a runoff if he doesn't get over 50% of the vote. So it's still possible that then Warnock could pull it off, but it's too close for comfort, that's for sure. Also, thank you so much once again, Norfolk. You're clarifying that yes, he did, or that you guys did used to watch the Vanguard together, since he was a sociology professor and introduced me to you guys. That's awesome, man. That's crazy. Yeah, rest in peace to your uncle, man. I'm so glad you're still listening to the show. Glad that he was able to introduce you to our show. That's really cool, man.
Yeah, based uncle, bro. My uncle's not that based. He doesn't introduce me to shows like the fucking Vanguard. So that guy must have been a pretty sweet deal having that guy around.
Yeah, and some people are predicting that George is going to break for the Republicans. Oh, and sorry, I didn't mean to call you use masculine pronouns or whatever I was doing. If you're a female, sorry about that. But yeah,
shame on you, Gavin.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's see if there's any more results coming out. Again, I'm monitoring Twitter, trying to see if anything else is breaking. Have you seen anything, Zach?
I've been watching. Right now, we're in this weird position where we were talking about this earlier, right? Like, for Senate races, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because right now, if you like go to the New York Times, it'll say there's 41 Senate seats for Democrats and 40 that have been called for Republicans. But it's, and there'll probably be, a few more that go Democrat, but it is looking like the Republicans are probably going to take it away because they'll get Louisiana and they'll get Eric Schmidt in Missouri, who is clobbering Trudy Bush Valentine with 23% of the votes, and he's still up by 70,000 votes. Doesn't look like it's going to go Trudy Bush Valentine's way. With freaking 15% of the votes in, it looks like Chuck Grassley's down, but I'll believe it when I see it. That man's going to get reelected. He's been reelected. People, despite his massive flaws and the fact that I wouldn't agree with this, people know the name Chuck Grassley in Iowa, and they'll fucking vote for the guy. I think from what I'm looking at, Wisconsin still leaning Ron Johnson, though Mandela Barnes could come out with it. JD Vance is likely going to seize Ohio, and while Pennsylvania is leaning towards Fetterman right now, it's still listed as a toss-up, and that just leaves North Carolina, where we already announced Ted Budd likely to take it, and Herschel Walker again in a toss-up situation with Raphael Warnock. One of them has to get over 50% of the vote, but we don't know. That would lead a decent-ass performance for the Republicans if it went the way I just fucking said based off of the early preliminary results. But like I said, we won't know until maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after that. I don't fucking know. It's going to be a while before we know for sure because it'll still say shit like 70% of the votes, and maybe it'll go wild in the other direction. But we should have a clear idea later tonight. But for right now, Grassley's ancient. Yeah, you fucking know. I was making the joke that he's 800 and he's been in the fucking Senate since the Civil War. He's literally like 89 years old. I mean, we need to have a law against we need to have if you can make it so you can't be president before you're 35. You can't tell me there's a constitutional prevention to say after you're 70, get the fuck out of government. I'm sorry to tell you, after 70, you're just not going to be as sharp anymore. That gives you 35 years of runway for your political ambitions. You know, you're 35 to 70. That's pretty damn good. 3.5 decades. You can make up your damn mind and go and serve your country that way if that's what you should so choose and the people should choose of you. But having these motherfuckers like Dianne Feinstein and Chuck Grassley and all these other guys in the Senate, it's unacceptable. It really is an embarrassment.
Also, Bookworm Skates asked an interesting question. Have you heard anything about how the People's Party candidates are doing in this midterm election cycle? Zach, I remember hearing that they were going to run a full slate of candidates.
Oh yeah, you haven't heard? They're all getting drunk in Jimmy's garage.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. But yeah, it does look like AOC has secured re-election. Unsurprising, but still, interesting. AOC, I think this will be her third term in Congress. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any new breaking results according to the New York Times. Someone's telling us to put the map up on screen, like the New York Times map, I am guessing. But I tried to go to the New York Times and
I got it.
I think you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Because I think that for me, I'm not subscribed to the New York Times, so they're gonna make me pay or something, which I'm not trying to do.
Yeah, if you just share my screen, I've got it pulled up. Based right here, New York Times. So this is what I've been looking at, everybody. Right here, we've got a likely Democrat outcome based off of the votes counted, right? We kind of figured that Colorado is going to go and re-elect Michael Bennet. He's up by over 100,000 votes. That's pretty that's pretty clear to me. Obviously, it could go any direction, but I'm going to go ahead and say, let's go ahead and put Michael Bennet in the Democrats' basket as a W. Okay, great. Moving over here, Eric Schmidt. This is the election that I refused to participate in earlier today, and I voted for Daffy Duck instead of either of these two corporate shills. Trudy Bush Valentine, not looking like she's doing great. Even the New York Times saying very likely Republican. I would agree with that. Iowa, again, it looks like they've just taken like Cedar Rapids, Des Moines, and maybe like fucking Ames's fucking votes over here. Either way, giving a skewed outlook at what Iowa's going to vote like. This is a red fucking state, okay? In Iowa, it's cornfields and racism over here in Iowa. So we know how that one's going to go over here again. Leaning Republican, closer to a toss-up. You guys can see the breakdown over here in Milwaukee. Obviously, Green Bay going blue, but a lot of the rest of the state going to go for Ron Johnson. Again, my money is that Ron will take this one away. Maybe BW in Wisconsin will dispute that with me. Then we've got JD Vance likely going to take this one away. Tim Ryan had some good early polling, but I think a lot of that was horse shit. Obviously, you guys know here at the Vanguard, we're no fans of JD Vance. He's a massive fraud. He wrote the Hillbilly Elegy, even though it was, not even really based on his own life, just like fucking horse shit appropriation of other people's experiences, yada, yada, yada. Over here, Ted Budd looks like he's going to take it away. And again, you guys can see over here how close it looks with Warnock. It looks like, hey, Warnock has maybe reclaimed no. It's just getting closer. 49.1 as opposed to 48.9 earlier last time I looked. So this is going to be neck and neck, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it go to a runoff. The only last big race that we haven't really talked about is this is where Fetterman and Oz are at, and we don't have any results from these counties, and you can bet your ass they're going to go for Dr. Oz. It's just a matter of if Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and whatnot are going to hold it down enough for Fetty Wap to secure the Senate seat. And if he does, that would be better than if he didn't.
Yeah, let's hope so. Also, Salisa, Zach's girlfriend, is telling us that the margins on the Missouri marijuana vote are pretty close right now, which is interesting. I expected that to be a pretty clear-cut victory for legal cannabis. She's saying 51% yes to 49% no. So it does look like legal cannabis is narrowly still winning in the state of Missouri. And it does appear that Maryland has voted to legalize cannabis. So that's some good news. If you live in Maryland.
Yeah, this is fucked up because I don't know. every poll I'd looked at with the Missouri legalization question, and here's what I have to say about that, because I voted in Missouri today, and I can give a little bit of insight. The way they do this shit in Missouri is so fucked up. I already went on my rant about how they try everything within their fucking capability to keep you from voting. But the way they word all the questions is strange too. And they don't put them in order. Like they'll be like, vote yes on number 3, but it'll be like 2 and 4, or 2 and 3 are on one half, and then 1, 4, 5, and 7 on the other side of your paper. You're like, why is it like this? It's just they try and fuck people on this. And also, if Missouri doesn't legalize cannabis, I might just start committing random acts of violence. I'm going to give up on politics altogether and just fucking become one of those lunatics.
Yeah, that'll be crazy. I think legal weed will still prevail in Missouri, though. That'd be wild if it didn't. Also, it does look like Ty was correct. John Fetterman's campaign takes dig at Dr. Oz by serving crudité at the election night party. That's funny. That's fucking funny.
They should invite Snooki to host.
Also, thank you so much, AV, for the $5. Hope you're enjoying the drunken late night live stream. Really appreciate the $5. Also, it does look like North Carolina Senate race has been called for Republican Ted Budd. He wins the North Carolina Senate race. Again, a predicted result, but still worth commenting on, given the fact that we have been chatting with Green Party candidate Matthew Ho from the great state of North Carolina. But yeah, it does look like Ted Budd has prevailed in North Carolina.
Yeah, I also got another update that looks like Herschel Walker might be extending his lead against Raphael Warnock. It's still close. He's up by 7,000 votes, though. 49.2% of the vote to 80 or 48.9. So maybe that's not an extension of his lead. But either way, it's looking damn close. And yeah, it's odd that there's still so few PA votes counted. 40% of the votes in for that race, whereas North Carolina's already at 84%. Their polls would have closed at the same time, 67 and 71 respectively in Ohio and Georgia. But again, same deal over in Louisiana, which definitely their Senate candidate John Kennedy is going to win, unfortunately, against Gary Chambers, who you guys might remember for having that base candidate. He was smoking that fucking ginormous blunt, just like a fucking Fidel Castro style cigar, but filled with weed in it in his campaign ad. And that was cool and all, but he got fucking starched in this race. We kind of knew that was going to happen, but only 25% reporting, and you can already call it because John Kennedy has 261,000 votes and Gary Chambers got 53,000 votes. And this is what's also fucked up. It looks like the vote was massively split, in this Louisiana race between a Dem named Luke Mixon and Gary Chambers. Gary Chambers right now with 53,500 votes and Luke Mixon with 46,500 votes. So that's quite a split. Still would have been less than half of the votes garnered by John Kennedy, but always interesting when there's two Dems that, run all the way out to election day and, handicap each other in a sense.
Absolutely. Also, thank you so much, Brian, for the $1.99. Will Biden move right based on tonight's results? I don't think Biden's going to do shit based on tonight's results, assuming that he loses either the House and or the Senate. I think he's just going to take it as an excuse to not do anything, right? I don't think he's going to necessarily move right. I just don't really think he's going to do much at all. What do you think about that, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, the only good thing that could come out of tonight, in my view, besides my own personal investment in the legalization of recreational cannabis in the state of Missouri, would be if the Democrats got beat so fucking badly that Joe Biden decides that he can't possibly run for re-election in 2024. Like, if he's led this team into the dirt so fucking bad that he can't possibly convince the general public, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen because, I mean, once you've become president, you're going to fucking run for re-election. I mean, it is very rare in American history where the fucker doesn't run for re-election, and that's because basically everybody in the party machine doesn't want him to. If you're the case of President Ford was like one of the few people that decided not to run, and that's why we got Hubert Humphrey. Okay, so I don't know.
Yeah. Also, thank you so much, BW in Wisconsin, for the $5. Close to 90% turnout in Dane County, Madison, Wisconsin. Sorry, guys. Higher than presidential election. 80% blue county. Sorry, guys. I'm drunk as fuck. 25% more votes to count. Interesting. Yeah, definitely keeping a close eye on that one. Also, Zach, if you wanted to, I was going to suggest that maybe we could watch a little while we wait for some more results to trickle in. Maybe we can watch a little bit of Matt Gaetz's appearance on TYT tonight from earlier.
Absolutely, and I have to realize that it was not Hubert Humphrey. I said the wrong name. I cannot remember the name of the guy that ran in lieu of President Ford after he decided not to run again. I wanted to correct myself because I can't remember who the fuck it was. Humphrey was a Democrat, Ford was a Republican, which is why I realized I'm a fucking idiot. LOL. Maybe let's just move on. I dug myself a hole where I was like digging back 50 years ago into my brain, and I shouldn't have.
It's all good. But yeah, I did want to take a quick listen to this. I heard this went completely off the rails. So let's check out a bit of Matt Gaetz's appearance on TYT while we wait for the Pennsylvania Senate race, the Georgia Senate race, and the Wisconsin Senate race, and the Ohio Senate race to be called.
In the next term.
I think it's all the eyes. I think it's inflation, immigration, and investigations. And we have a mandate now to try to limit spending. I think also people are very concerned about what's happening on the border. And when it comes to the weaponization of this government against our people, folks want to see the FBI, the Department of Justice, called to heel and called to account. That used to be something that liberals actually stood for, civil liberties and stopping the excesses of the politicization of investigations. And now the Republicans that will be leading the House Judiciary Committee will have that as our central focus.
So inflation being high, you mentioned it first. Obviously, wages is a very large issue. So do you think that we should raise the minimum?
So our liberty is big government cell phones. Then you create in the economy a bubble. And when that bubble bursts, a lot of working class people need more of the
and gas producer in the world. We're also the top exporter of oil and gas because our natural resources are completely owned by private corporations who get to sell those natural resources to the highest bidder. So if you're actually genuinely concerned about keeping gas prices low at the pump, we could nationalize our oil and gas. Would you be willing to do that?
No, I don't know that the Venezuela energy model is one that the American people are voting for.
Okay, so you want to allow corporations to export oil and gas to the highest bidders internationally.
I think we should repeal the Jones Act because you're right, there is production that's up. But as a consequence of the Jones Act, we're not able to actually get that energy to the places that we need it so that there's broad distribution and lower prices. So actually, there's a deregulation answer that I think would unlock lower prices for the American people given what we currently produce.
I wanted to just quickly, Cenk, one follow-up, and then I'll let you take over. The point that you made about social services like Medicaid, which provides health care to literally the most impoverished people in the country, how exactly do you claim that that leads to inflation? I mean, I can explain how the Federal Reserve engaging in quantitative easing, literally printing money and giving it to banks and corporations who then turned around and invested in their own stocks and did dividends and all of that. That definitely led to asset bubbles. Private equity firms buying up entire neighborhoods of single family homes based on the money that was given to them by the Federal Reserve. That led to inflation in the housing market. I want you to explain exactly how
people who could go to work, but who choose not to.
We see corporations. Right. So we clearly have a different point of view. We see corporations with record profits continuing to drive prices up. There's exit polling showing that 83% of the voters wanted the government to do something about that. Instead, they have let those corporations gouge us over and over again as Republicans protected them.
I just wonder, what the hell is the point of this? Like, what crossed their mind to be like, you know what, on the night of the fucking elections, we should have this Republican on who we disagree with on everything, and then just prod him with questions, and be like, I think the solution is this. You don't like quantitative easing. Oh, you know, like, obviously Matt Gaetz has the wrong opinion on everything, but it's just like, why are you just like setting him up to be the Stonewall pillar where he's like, oh, able-bodied people don't want to work? Like, he can just spew his right-wing nonsense for no reason while he's got a bunch of adulating supporters behind him while you sit in your studio and act obtuse to the guy Like, how is that supposed to be a W? Why are you having this guy on the show? Like, obviously he's a fucking snake. He's gonna be a bad faith actor and everything. He's taking massive amounts of money from corporations. I just don't understand the rationale behind this decision.
Yeah, I think they had Ro Khanna on too. So I think their idea was like, let's have a Democrat and Republican congressperson on. I don't fucking know though. It is weird. Apparently though, it's about to get off the rails though when Jake brings up the sex trafficking allegation. So let's watch that.
But to be fair, so did Biden. So now I want to move on to one of the things that we're most concerned about, which is democracy.
Hold on. I crossed the aisle and joined with Democrat David Cicilline to actually utilize antitrust tools to go after the very type of corporate greed that you're talking about. I'm actually hoping to persuade more people in this incoming Republican majority that the way to govern is not to just give the lobby corps the power. I'm the only Republican in Congress who doesn't take any money from any lobbyists or any PACs, full stop. And so I actually think there could be common ground with Democrats. So, and if we can get the Biden Justice Department to actually be serious about the enforcement of antitrust laws, I actually think we could do a lot to curb that corporate greed.
So look, we're a fair show. So it's obvious that we disagree with you on a lot of things, and we got more coming up in a second. But it is true that you don't take that corporate PAC money, and like the corporate people on the left that don't take the corporate PAC money.
Take any PAC money, not just corporate PAC money, no ideological PAC money, no leadership PAC money, and I stand alone as a Republican on that front.
That's actually interesting. That's right. I didn't know
and
that.
That's what allows you to criticize.
Yeah, Matt Gaetz is one of the only congressional representatives that does not take corporate PAC money, which is interesting, given that he's a total ghoul regardless. But thank you so much, Brian, for the 199 TYT, completely unwatchable. Yeah, it's pretty cringe. I don't really get why they had him on tonight, but apparently it's about to get off the rails, according to what I've heard. So do want to keep watching a little bit longer.
Big business,
to watch right winger Smald.
Almost all of your colleagues serve big business, by the way, including Rick Scott, who has promised to cut Social Security and Medicare in the same state of Florida. Now, we're worried about democracy, Matt. And in 2020, Trump clearly lost the election. He then did 60 court cases, he and his allies, and they could not present one piece of evidence. And he still insisted on lying about how he had won the election. So can you just be honest for once and say that Donald Trump definitely lost the 2020 election?
Joe Biden is definitely the president. I think there were a lot of irregularities there that still people are concerned about. But a big mistake that Democrats made in this election was talking so much about the last election. Look, Democrats went all in on this democracy message, and it's going to get crushed nationwide. It's going to lose, not because people don't like democracy, but because people believe that Joe Biden and Democrats are engaging in threat construction around democracy as a substitute for an economic plan, for something that will actually result in people making more money, growing their businesses. So I don't think that continuing obsess about this is going to be politically helpful for Democrats. And by the way, I don't think democracy's in any jeopardy. We've had a record turnout for a midterm election today, and that seems to show that a democracy in our country is alive, well, and it's certainly something that I support wholeheartedly.
Hold on, guys. I have breaking news while we're talking to Matt Gaetz. New York Times has just called your race. Matt Gaetz has won in his district in Florida right now as we speak to him. And I did notice, though, Representative Gaetz, that you evaded the question. You said that Biden is president. You didn't say Biden won the election. He obviously did, and you know it. But I'll move on. Anna.
No, hold on. I got a follow-up question to something you said. You know, you just made a vague statement about some irregularities. There are some irregularities, and you were one of the individuals who pushed the lie that the election was stolen from Trump. So be specific. What are the so-called irregularities? Because the Trump camp failed to provide a shred of evidence indicating that there was widespread voter fraud. Yet you and other Trump allies continued repeating that the election was stolen from him. So be specific. What exactly are you referring to?
I'm really concerned about some of these urban areas that operate under an entirely different system than the rest of their states. For example, in Wayne County, Michigan, the mechanism by which ballots are assembled is totally different than in the other parts of the state. And I don't think that volume alone justifies that. I also think that in Pennsylvania, a major irregularity was the change in the way.
Also, this is pretty exciting news, guys. Before we get back to TYT, apparently Summer Lee is the projected winner in Pennsylvania 12. she will defeat Republican Mike Doyle. And that's super, super good news, guys. Summerlee is actually a pretty good candidate endorsed by Bernie Sanders. And as this tweet says, AIPAC pulled out all the stops to defame and destroy Summerlee in her primary and general election campaigns. They failed. Grassroots progressive politics is more powerful than super PACs. Congrats to Summer for PA. So that is actually a really good news. Again, Bernie Sanders endorsed candidate, and AIPAC tried everything they possibly could to destroy her and defame her and slander her for speaking up for the rights of Palestinian people. So that is good news. And it does look like some of these results from Pennsylvania specifically are a little bfurther more blue than maybe people would have predicted.
Yeah, I think that's a good sign for Fetterman, and it's honestly, it's just a good sign for the country, because I think if you look at it, right, and people were offered absolutely nothing but dog shit options this time across the board. There were no real shining star candidates. Nobody that I was excited about in any fucking state. Not any of the 50 fucking states was there one candidate where I was like, this is the guy, the great shark, the American hope. No person. Didn't mean to use gendered language for a second. No, none of the folks running. We're gonna scratch that in.
Please stop using gendered language.
Yeah,
remember that DSA convention?
Yes, I do remember that DSA convention. A point of personal privilege to share. Yeah, we all remember that DSA convention, but I do think it does say something, at least about the state of Pennsylvania, where you're offered basically two things: a shit sandwich, where you get the diet fracker and the the dude that wears shorts and whatever, but he still went all vigilante justice and chased down a black guy for with a shotgun, and then fucking says that he stands with the fucking apartheid state of Israel and all kinds of shit like that. Or you could get like a Trump sycophant and buy into all of the like anti-trans hysteria, all the anti-abortion hysteria. It's like, oh yeah, all your medical decisions should be made between you, your doctor, and your congressperson. It's like I already invited Emmanuel Cleaver to sit on my proctology exam, but he fucking he never gets back to me about it. I don't know. Maybe Dr. Oz is going to be more charitable to his constituents, but I don't know. Sir, I really want you in the room to dissect my medical issues with me. He never makes himself available here in Kansas City, but maybe in other states they have better luck.
Please stop using gendered language, Zach. But yeah, AIPAC did take a fat L tonight. Congrats to Summerlee. Definitely a good result out of Pennsylvania. I do want to watch the rest of this TYT clip with Matt Gaetz real quick. Sorry, guys, for making you suffer through this, but people keep saying it gets crazy, so I do want to finish it out. It's not much longer.
Many people are saying that.
Ballots were mailed out. In time after time, you saw secretaries of state take unilateral action to go and engage in this broad distribution of ballots. I think that is ripe for fraud, and I don't think that it was constitutional. Now, Cheng made an important point about the 60.
The courts weighed in on that, though, right?
Yeah, I want to get to that, because almost all of those cases, not all, but almost all of those cases were resolved.
Also, sorry, guys. Not trying to keep distracting, but it does look like Laura Kelly is the projected winner in Kansas. This one was definitely in contention, but Zach and I's home state of Kansas does look like Democrat Governor Laura Kelly is going to remain governor. So that's definitely good news. Laura Kelly's not perfect, but definitely preferable that she's the governor in Kansas. Kansas is obviously a very, very red state, but interesting and definitely good news that Laura Kelly has remained in control.
Yeah. Sorry, I was distracted by Michael DeSanto. You would not destroy me on the trans issue, but glad that Governor Laura Kelly is the projected winner in the state of Kansas. Also, it shows you how little variety that the fucking Republicans have. I shit you not, guys. Derek Schmidt was the primary Republican running in the governor race in Kansas, and then just next door in the state of Missouri, the Republicans put up Eric Schmidt to be the fucking Senate candidate, and Eric Schmidt's actually probably going to win. But yeah, look, Laura Kelly's not perfect. She did a couple of cool things, though, while she was in office. Like, they got rid of the tax on groceries So if you go to the grocery store, right, you don't have to pay taxes on that in Kansas after that law goes into effect. That's pretty cool. That helps meaningfully impact like working class families. She didn't think that COVID was a hoax, folks. Like fucking Mike Parsons over in Missouri. So she at least handled that and navigated that a little bit more competently. But yeah. Good to have at least some sort of a barrier between the Republican fucking state house and Senate, and then the governor's mansion being a Democrat, right?
Absolutely. Also, yeah, Kansas is a pretty good band. Apparently my dad went to high school with the guys from that band, which is interesting. Anyway,
Your dad went to high school with the dudes from Kansas?
Yeah, they like grew up in Topeka or whatever.
That makes sense why they named their band Kansas.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, it does look like JD Vance, unfortunately, has pulled it out in Ohio. He will defeat Democrat Tim Ryan. Ugh, look at this disgusting, smug, fucking doughy-faced piece of shit. What a vile, fucking disgusting man. He will be the next senator from Ohio. Ugh.
Isn't he like boys with Soccer and Jetty or something like that?
Yeah, Sagar always is like, just full disclosure, I'm good friends with JD Vance. So yeah, ugh.
I'm good. I was trying to think of an odious figure that I could be good friends with and try and like fucking sweep it under the rug. Me and Marilyn Manson, we're just boys, Hey, I don't know.
Yeah, fuck JD Vance. Again, this is a predictable result, but yeah, it does look like JD Vance will be the next senator from Ohio. Ugh, can't believe it. Lauren Boebert apparently is in danger right now, with Democrats leading in Colorado's 3rd district. That's interesting. Do you ever hear about how her husband like pulled his cock out at the bowling alley and like exposed himself to some like 16-year-olds or something like that?
No, haven't we all done something like that?
Yeah. Anyway, look that up if you haven't heard about it. Watch Gavin Newsom win and immediately run for president. LMAO. Yeah. I don't think he's going to run if Biden runs, but if Biden doesn't run for re-election, then absolutely Gavin Newsom will run for president.
Yeah, and if he did, he would get fucking embarrassed because nobody's going to vote for that fucking piece of shit at the national level. He has no chance of becoming president ever in a million years. Also, Gavin, while we're talking about crazy shit that people have done, did you see the news story about how the CFO of Tyson Foods just randomly went to sleep in this college girl's bedroom in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and he got arrested because he just got drunk and like let himself into this college girl's house and then like went to sleep in her bed, and he was the CFO of Tyson Foods?
No, I did not hear about that. Is that like just breaking?
I read about it this morning in The Guardian. I'll pull it back up in 1 second. But
Interesting. Also, yeah, it'll be crazy if Lauren Boebert loses her election. Definitely wasn't expecting that. Oh shit. Hey, down goes Tulsi's preferred candidate in New Hampshire. Incumbent Democrat Senator Maggie Hassan is the projected winner of the New Hampshire Senate election. She will defeat Don Bolduc, Democratic hold. Yeah, I don't care much about Maggie Hassan, but it is pretty funny that Don Bolduc will go down. He's a real piece of shit. And yeah, Tulsi Gabbard was out there stumping for that motherfucker.
Yep, we needed those boots on the ground in Ukraine, and now what are we going to do, Gavin? What are we going to do? No, we're just going to have the woke mob in power. They're going to let all of it's like Matt Walsh said, right? All those millions and millions of children that are on puberty blockers now, they won't be able to go fight in Ukraine. What are we going to do? No, LOL. But really quickly, I did want to throw this up so everybody's not thinking I'm lying. CFO Tyson embarrassed after public intoxication. And then, wait for it. Criminal trespassing. Let's find out what that implied. Tyson was found asleep Sunday morning in a woman's bed in her home in northwestern Arkansas. She didn't know who he was and called the police. Yeah, this is the kind of people that run our fucking country. John R. Tyson will fucking probably run for president someday. So just remember that name. He'll be on the fucking next midterm election board we're doing. Probably. Anyway, shout out to you, Taywaz.
Yeah, thank you so much, Taywaz, for that's also a crazy story. But yeah, thank you so much, Taywaz. We're about to get back to the TYT thing because that video is almost over and I do want to cover it. But yeah, thank you so much, Taywaz.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to you. And one last shout out to you, Jay Black. Appreciate that. I'm 45 minutes behind on the stream, and you just broke the news to me that Beto lost there in Tejas. The Roberto Mori story. Yeah, that was some real shit. We were taught Spanish by some gringo motherfuckers in Lenexa, Kansas. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, that was so funny, dude. The Senora Morris shit. Like, we had a Hispanic and sorry, Senor Morris. We had a Hispanic instructor who was like our Spanish teacher, but every single class period she would just put on this video of this white dude, Senor Morris. I remember her name was Senora Flattery or Flaherty.
Flaherty.
Yeah. Anyway, she would just put on some video of this white dude named Roberto Morris or Robert Morris. Either way, that was funny as fuck. Thank you so much, Jay Black. Really appreciate the $20. That's super generous of you. Really appreciate the support, man. Glad you found that anecdote to be funny. It is pretty funny. But yeah, let's finish out this TYT clip real quick with Matt Gaetz before we get back to some more results, guys. Because apparently this does get crazy. There's only like less than 5 minutes left, so might as well just finish it out.
In the absence of an evidentiary hearing. So it's not exactly fair to say that we
true.
lost because we didn't have sufficient evidence. So a lot of them were decided on jurisdictional grounds and on the sufficiency of the pleadings, not based on an actual evidentiary hearing where both sides got to put information before the court. So it's a little, I think, misleading to suggest that 60 hearings around the country where evidence was presented.
Matt, some were decided on jurisdictional grounds, but the majority were decided on the merits, and every judge, including every Republican judge, including every Trump-appointed judge, said, you have not presented any evidence, including the evidence that you were just talking about now. When in court, there was none, zero. And by the way, Matt, you can tell from your answers, you don't believe it either. It's super obvious you don't believe it.
But yeah, I can tell by your questions, you guys still have no message, because instead of talking about how we're going to actually move the country forward, you guys are still obsessed about the 2020 election.
Matt, I'm not a regular Democrat. I don't care about their messaging. What I care about is if your friend Donald Trump wins in 2024, we might never have another election, because he's an obvious pathological liar, doesn't believe in democracy, didn't want to leave even though he lost the election, and you know it.
Jake, the last time you were on the ballot, you got 4% of the vote. So for you,
so what does that have to do with anything that we're talking about right now?
Okay, Matt, if we're going in that direction, listen, you had sex with a 17-year-old, according to allegations, and you asked for a pardon. Hold on. You asked for a pardon. Why did you ask for the pardon?
Yeah, why did you ask Trump for a pardon if you didn't break any laws?
Sleeping with a
I've been overwhelmingly reelected. You guys are in some sort of weird struggle session there, and I'm just glad, even though the internet hated you having me on, Jake, you're getting to see what a congressional victory party looks like, and that's something that might be a novel experience.
Why did you ask for a pardon for having sex with a 17-year-old?
Something that even happened. You're like reading into an anonymous internet conspiracy. And it's really sad because in my district, the voters saw through that. In my state, we're overwhelming.
Did you ask for the pardon?
That has all been debunked. I've addressed it. President Trump has addressed it. And by the way, you should look at your own comments about women that caused Bernie Sanders to unendorse you. Imagine being so aligned with Bernie Sanders that he would endorse you, but he has to pull his endorsement because the things that you said were so unsafe.
Well, Matt, see, some people grow up and they change. Others send their colleagues in Congress nude photos of women that they've slept with today, and are hated by members of their own party, which there are numerous reports about that regarding you.
You know, keep
but I appreciate you coming on to answer our questions.
People who told those lies
Did
are going
your
to the
father by any chance get involved?
They were not lies, Matt. You know it.
Dude, it's no wonder you guys don't have the trust of the voters, because you guys sit here and just spew this nonsense that isn't relevant to people's lives. We're going to focus on inflation. We're going to focus on the border. We're going to focus on investigations. And the result is we're going to win in 2024. Democracy will be fine, and you guys will still be crying on the young turkey.
You never answered the question. Did you sleep with a 17-year-old?
Absolutely not. That has been totally debunked. And by the way, more women have made accusations against Joe Biden than have made accusations against me.
We've talked about them.
You should be really proud of that.
Well, my number is 0. You can't even keep Bernie Sanders' endorsement, and Joe Biden doesn't exactly have a clean record himself. So we're pretty happy here in the Sunshine State. One Miami-Dade County, one my district. Looks like the House and Senate will flip, and eager to get to Washington to get to work.
Yeah. By the way, there was one difference between us. The Democratic Party did not support me because I am against their corruption. Whereas you kissed the ass of the Republican leaders 24/7, so they were very happy to support you.
You couldn't even hold Bernie. He endorsed you and had to unendorse you. Like, do you think Bernie is all of a sudden the establishment of the Democratic Party? He's not even a Democrat, and he left you on the side of the road with your 4% of the vote.
Matt, I don't care about my personal career at all. I told Bernie to do that. I actually wanted Bernie to win that election really badly, and I didn't want to get in his way because I care about policies. I care about higher wages. I care about everybody in the country getting health insurance. I care about them getting paid family leave. I care about them getting child tax credit. And what I heard from you tonight is when you guys win, you're not going to do anything about wages. You're going to make sure that people do not get any help in the categories that I just mentioned.
No, wages will go up in the
real evil is Medicaid, to be fair.
The
The real evil in the country is Medicaid.
And
Gotta
now the
do
American
something
people
about
are
that.
going to get something in the Republican majority.
All right, Matt Gaetz, thank you for joining us. We appreciate
Okay. Wow. So much to unpack right there. So much that we just experienced together. Holy shit. One, again, I say what I said before I watched this clip. Why the fuck did anybody at TYT think that was going to be a good idea? Every single time that TYT was supposed to come in with the slam dunk, even though Matt Gaetz is a slimy little greaseball who definitely fucking had sex with a minor and did a bunch of shady things, that's very likely that happened. That doesn't matter at all in politics, okay? What matters is what you can convince people of. And what people were convinced of is Matt Gaetz went on TYT's show tonight. He made fucking Cenk Uygur look like a clown. The best Cenk Uygur had from him was, "I know you are, but what am I?" And he kept pulling the rug out from him. Bernie Sanders didn't even endorse you. You want to talk about how you hate the neoliberals? You couldn't even beat them. You lost to Christy Smith. You got 4% of the vote in a Democratic primary in Orange County, bro. You have 1 million fucking YouTube. You have 5 million YouTube subs, and you couldn't even get yourself into fucking Congress. You're talking to me while I'm at my fucking victory party for my re-election. Do you see how this is a terrible, terrible idea from an optics standpoint? Unless you're going to come in here and crucify this man like you're Sacha Baron Cohen. Like, I don't understand what you thought you were going to do, Cenk. Cenk and Anna come in here, and they just look bad. I am inclined to agree with them on fucking every point they make against this guy, but it comes across as like weirdly poorly set up. Like, oh, you're just coming to chop the legs out from under this guy like that you don't agree with. It's like, why did you do that? There was no motivation. There was no clear reason to have this on. And then the fact that you get made to look like a fucking idiot on your own show. If you look like an idiot on your own show, that's bad. It's not good. And that's what happened for basically the entire Matt Gaetz exchange. And if Matt Gaetz can make you look like a fucking idiot, who can't? Who can't, Gavin?
Whew, yeah, that was spicy. That was spicy. Although I will say, we were speculating that like they would just be having him on to play patty cake or whatever, and at least they did debate the motherfucker. Like it wasn't like they just had him on there to ask him softball questions. But yeah, definitely was not a good look. And honestly, despite being a total piece of shit and a creep and a fucking disgusting person in every possible way, Matt Gaetz did make some pretty funny jabs at Cenk Uygur about how he got endorsed by Bernie Sanders and got like 4% in his own congressional race. So yeah, don't really understand what the point of that was.
Yeah. It was a bad idea from a programming standpoint. What did they stand to gain? Nothing. What did they stand to lose? Even more of their self-respect than they'd already lost beforehand. So, wow, I guess that's Cenk's MO at this point. It's just him slowly like painting his face, putting on the eye makeup, putting on the rubber nose, getting his wig on, dressing up like the clown every single fucking day. Yes, and shout out to you, Christina. You know what's up. Anna wrote an op-ed in Newsweek admonishing progressives to stop gaslighting on crime statistics. Yeah, we already took Anna to task on that. She blocked us on Twitter because we raked her over the coals. So good. So good. She went after our homie Ron Placone, who is literally the nicest man in the world. Literally, like, you cannot find a better homie than Ron Placone, okay? That dude lives his values to a T. We already went all the way across it. So, one, check out our clip on that if you guys missed it. But as Gavin here says, fuck TYT for regurgitating tough on crime propaganda.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, I'm glad they asked him some hard questions. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad they asked Matt Gaetz some hard questions. At least they didn't just have him on there to be like, yeah, what's up, Matt Gaetz? How's it going, man? But yeah, fuck TYT, especially after they simped for Rick Caruso. Do we have any results coming out of Los Angeles, by the way? I'd be interested to see if there's any results coming out of Los Angeles related to the mayoral election. Neck and neck.
That's what I'm seeing. I'm going deep into this LA mayor race. Rick Caruso, yeah, I'm not seeing a ton of I'm like live results 0-0. So nothing's trickled in yet, unfortunately, from that race.
Interesting. Well, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Also, thank you so much for the $4.99. Anna wrote, yeah, we already talked about that. Thank you so much, Christina. Really, really appreciate you. And yeah, Misty, I will agree. It was funny to watch him confront Matt Gaetz directly on that issue. We're no fan of TYT, but I mean, at least they did ask him the toughest, most uncomfortable questions. Kind of got owned in the process, but still, at least they did ask him the tough questions.
Bro, that's what's so weird about this is like I've seen Jank be on point before and have artillery information ready to go. I'm telling you, if I have any opportunity to spend like 60 seconds talking with Matt Gaetz, I'm going to have every fucking piece of data in my mind ready to throw at you. I will not be the one that is backpedaling while we're having a discussion about this, bro. I'll be like, on the yacht, on this, FBI probe. Fucking this date and X, Y, and Z. Where were you on this date? I'll talk over you, buddy. Let's take this in. That's what you do when you're taking somebody to task. You own the mic. You say, fuck you, guy. I'm talking now. You were here at X point. You were here at Y point. You were doing this shady thing on this date. You were doing this thing on this date. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a timeline. These are the kind of things you say to somebody when they're trying to backpedal out of your accusations, okay? And Jank acted like he was a novice, like he'd never, ever, ever had to fucking debate or argue with somebody before. Like he was just happy to get steamrolled because he didn't know what he was doing on his own show, with a backup. Imagine two of us on one and we get steamrolled. It would never happen. Would never happen on the Vanguard.
Exactly. But yeah, it does look like Fetterman's currently leading by 4 points in Pennsylvania. I think Fetterman might pull it out, bro. I think you might have been wrong about that one, bro. Just saying.
I hope I am wrong. Here's what I knew. That man had an absolute dog shit debate performance. This much is true. I thought it was going to impact voters maybe more than it did. Hopefully more than it did. Mehmet is a shittier candidate than John Fetterman. That is abundantly clear. But after you come out here and you tell me that you've always been pro-fracking, get the fuck out of here. I don't care what happens to you.
Yeah, it will be pretty crazy if he pulls it out. Fuck Dr. Oz. And yeah, it does look like Carrie Lake is in danger of losing the governorship in Arizona. That's another Tulsi-endorsed Trump-loving Republican. So I'll try to see if I can find any results there. But I did see that she's down right now. So that's definitely good news. Carrie Lake is a crazy person. So let's try to see if that is true. But yeah, what's up, Ty? Also, thank you so much, Ryan, for the $5. Chris Deluzio, Bernie delegate, is winning in Pennsylvania 17, 86% in 54-45. This is Connor Lamb's old seat. Oh, yeah, Connor Lamb, who sacrificed his seat in Congress to try to become the Democratic nominee for the Pennsylvania Senate race, only to get walloped by John Fetterman. That was funny. And yeah, interesting. But I'll check that out, Ryan.
Yeah, Connor Lamb did the old Joe Kennedy. LOL. Vacate your successful bid in Congress to fucking embarrass yourself in the Senate race. It seems like it's going to be a freaking slow evening of trickling in results, especially with everything that I'm looking at on the New York Times. I even pulled up the fucking NPR races. Not a lot of votes counted from. Yeah, not a lot of information coming in from the mayoral's race in Los Angeles, which is another one I know a lot of people are paying close attention to. A little bit of radio silence. Sorry about that, guys. Blake Master is also down in Arizona, as our man on the ground, Ty Stewart, reports. No, he's probably just sitting in his living room in Texas.
Yeah,
somewhere.
he is a Thiel protege. Peter Thiel basically threw down hard on JD Vance and Blake Masters, and it looked like he may have got a return. Well, he did get a return on his investment in JD Vance. Looks like JD Vance is the winner of the Ohio Senate race. But yeah, it does look like Blake Masters is down, and it also looks like Carrie Lake is down in Arizona. So, Arizona is one of these states, much like Pennsylvania, where it looked like Republicans might sweep, but perhaps not. So I don't know, man. It looks like we're definitely still going to see a red wave, but I don't know about a red tsunami necessarily. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting right now. Maybe a red wave for sure, no doubt about it, but it doesn't look like maybe the red tsunami that was predicted is happening.
Yeah, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, if Mark Kelly holds on, which it's like potentially he's poised to in Arizona, and then let's say the Dems are able to. I mean, I actually think that it looks like Herschel Walker's gaining ground, so maybe they won't take Georgia, but maybe they'll get Pennsylvania with Fetterman. So that definitely gives Republicans the control of the Senate and the House. But you're right, it's not as devastating of a loss as it could have been under some other circumstances. But yes, LOL. You guys always said, where's that on the ground reporting from the Vanguard? It Ty Stewart right over here, man. Hey, you can't get this anywhere else.
Exactly. Vanguard. What do they call it? Vanguard affiliate, Ty Stewart on the ground.
Van click deep, boys.
Also, is that true? The last I saw, weed was still up in Missouri by a couple points. But that's not. Can you imagine if fucking Missouri does not legalize? I've just been taking it for granted.
I'm looking.
That's gonna be a real fucking fat bummer. Yeah, correspondent, not affiliate. That was the word I was looking for, Ty. Correspondent, not affiliate. Thank you, Ty. You are a Vanguard correspondent.
To be fair, though, you'd have to be affiliated with us to be our correspondent. Yeah, I'm not looking at anything. I mean, Salisa messaged me like fucking 20 minutes ago saying that it was pretty evenly split, but we'd had the lead. So we'll give another update. The amendment looks like it'll pass, but also less than 50 precincts performing. We usually wait for the AP to call the race. So yeah, according to what I know, it's like a fucking hair lead for the yes vote on the marijuana rate. This is uncomfortably close, though. You bunch of fucking fascists that didn't vote for this shit. Yeah, see, this is the last update I had. Also, something like this. So 51%. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you would. I was sure that Missouri, because obviously Missouri is a red as fuck state, but we have a little bit more of like a libertarian bent to us here in Missouri. We like that freedom, don't tread on us, all that shit. You would think that weed would be just demolishing in Missouri, given that even Republicans support this policy. Are you trolling us, Michael? I can't tell if you're fucking trolling. Either way. Even South Dakota legalized cannabis. Like I figured, of course, Missouri's going to do it. And it does look like it's still in the lead, but damn, 51-49. That is uncomfortably close, like you said, Zach. Woo! Let's hope that we pull it out. Oh, yeah. Also, thank you so much, Connor Linker, for the $20. Really appreciate that generous super chat, man. I didn't like any of the Dims here in Arizona, but I will say they did a good job of airing super hard hitting ads against Lake and Masters in the last few weeks. Interesting. Thank you for your insight, Connor. Yeah, I agree. It didn't seem like the Dims you guys put up there in Arizona were all that compelling, but Lake and Masters did make it very easy to attack them. They're both insane people, like certified lunatics. So I'm not surprised that the Democrats were able to get some decently hard-hitting negative ads out against those candidates, and maybe that did stop them from becoming victorious. And anyway, really appreciate your insight, Connor, coming at us from Arizona.
Yeah, shout out to you, Connor. Look, none of the Democrats were super fucking inspiring. If you guys managed to elect one in Arizona, that's more than we'll likely be able to say here in Missouri, because there's absolutely no chance that Trudy Bush Valentine gets elected. And like I said, I'm not shedding any tears over that. I didn't even vote for that lady myself.
Also, it does look, unfortunately, it looks like the amendment to increase police funding well, only 26% of the votes are in, but it does look like the amendment to increase police funding in KC is going to pass, which is unfortunate. Like, trust me, I live in Kansas City. There's enough fucking cops here. We don't need more. So that's annoying. Also, Michael, so are fucking cheeseburgers and Coca-Cola and like fucking half the shit you can buy at the grocery store at least. Do you think all that shit should be illegal? Do you think Snickers bars should be illegal? Do you think fucking Haagen-Dazs should be illegal? Think people should be locked up for fucking drinking Mountain Dew? Come on, bro.
Michael DeSantos successfully triggers the Vanguard twice in the comment section with one fucking stream. Shout out to you, Michael DeSanto. Haterade of the live stream goes to you. But yeah, shout out to you, Connor Lanker. You're not a wanker like that other guy. I mean, the Democrats fucked themselves because they did not do anything while they were in power, so they had nothing to run on, except again running on, we didn't do January 6th, those other guys did. So yeah, I would imagine that the ads about the economy are hitting really hard. Eric Schmidt wins election to the U.S. Senate from Missouri.
Shouldn't have written in Daffy Duck, bro. If only you would cast your vote for fucking Trudy Bush Valentine, we wouldn't have this fascist becoming senator of Missouri.
Yeah, well, shucks, right? What the fuck can you do? Maybe if she hadn't been an aristocrat with fucking no principles, I would have voted for her. But yeah, this guy was like Attorney General of Missouri for a while, and he's a Republican, and he's like 1% less crazy than Eric Greitens, so the mainstream press likes to shower him as like some rational actor, even though he's not. He's just as fucking batshit crazy as the rest of the Republican Party, and he's a disgrace to this country and our political system, just like basically everybody else that gets elected tonight.
Let the record reflect that in the face of fascism, as democracy fell, Zach Polston wrote Daffy Duck in for the U.S. Senate for Missouri. Wow. Let Eric Schmidt slide to fucking victory.
Hey, at least I filled out my form correctly.
Also, shout out to you, Michael. We're just giving you a hard time. I'm glad you think it should be legal, and we also love you, even though you sometimes have questionable opinions. But glad you're part of our community. I appreciate the fact that you tune into us, even though you don't always agree with us on everything. We're anti-echo chamber here, so glad you're weed is bad, very bad. I didn't say. Yeah, is it? How is it that? I mean, is it really that bad? Is it like maybe smoking is bad, but you can take like brownies or pills. Like you can get high other ways. You don't have to smoke. I get that smoking's bad, but like, is it really that bad?
Just because my lungs look like the crusty insides of a used bong doesn't mean weed is bad.
Oh God. Also, thank you, Hysteric Raider. Cops good for security theater. Yep. 100%, 100%. 100%. Thank you so much, Hysteric Raider. It's really unfortunate that it looks like that amendment's going to pass here in Kansas City. Again, trust me, we don't need any more fucking cops, guys. Drive down the highway, see like fucking 6 or 7 pigs every time. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, and honestly, guys, I'm going to be real, because every time I've been fucked with by the KCPD, I'm like, guys, I've committed crimes in this town. It's never been the times that they decide to fuck with me. Like, Jesus Christ. Like one time, allegedly, right? Like some guy that wasn't me, like I don't know, maybe I shouldn't tell that story. Anyway, all I'm saying is that every time I've actually had the cops like seriously mess with me, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's for like expired tags, or like, oh, you forgot to pay this thing, or like, why were you driving 45 miles an hour over the speed limit? It's never been for anything serious.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hysteric Raider. And thank you also, Mariposa. Just got here. Walker Warnock going to runoff. Likely, although I don't think it's been called yet. Let me check if there's been any updates. Thank you so much, Mariposa.
Yeah, I was just looking at that to answer Mariposa's question. It looks like if it doesn't go to a runoff, it will be because Warnock lost and Walker was able to pull it out. I'm seeing Herschel Walker has about a 30,000 vote lead with 77% of the votes in. And the few areas, potentially, I mean, we just don't know. I don't know. It's going to be fucking damn close. Like Stevens County's probably going to go red. No reporting from them yet. There's a county outside Macomb, Baldwin County, which is like, I'm looking at all these. I'm like, I don't know how to interpret this. I'm not a genius, but it's looking like probably a runoff, and if not, it's because Herschel Walker pulled it out.
Yeah. Also, thank you, Ryan, for the update from Ohio. Thank you for the $2, Ryan. Democrats shockingly might flip Ohio first district. Interesting. Given the fact that J.D. Vance handily won that Senate race, that is definitely interesting. I'm not familiar with the landscape of Ohio. I'm not sure what the first district encompasses. Is that the district that Nina Turner was? No.
I don't know. I know I've been to Cincinnati twice, right? I've been to Cincinnati twice. Both times I fucking hated it there. First time I went to Cincinnati, it was because I had to fly into Hebron, Kentucky to go into this fucking warehouse that I was working at. And it was absolutely dog shit. Second time, Gavin knows what happened when we went to Cincinnati. It was just, y'all put spaghetti in the chili. I don't need none of it. I'm never going back to Cincinnati, and I don't give a goddamn what happens, Ryan Chan. You keep your Cincinnati business to yourself. No, I'm kidding. Shout out to you, Ryan, but I have no idea what's going on in Cincinnati.
Yeah, it was not Nina Turner's district. Sorry. But yeah, thank you so much, Ryan. Interesting. I'll definitely check that one out. We'll be giving you guys more results from there in a second. Also, thank you, Brian Frederick, for the 199 Atlanta, the free. But we love the police state. Exactly. It's America for you right there. Thank you so much, Brian, for the super chats. And I really always appreciate hearing from you, man.
Yep, America, where you can get 131 flavors of boot.
Yeah. Also, Vanguard correspondent Salisa Kalakal reporting 51% yes, 48% no for cannabis. So it does look like cannabis is holding the lead by just about 2% here in Missouri, with about 50% of the precincts reporting. So again, it's winning, but that is way too close for comfort, guys. I was expecting a much, much wider lead for legal cannabis here in the great state of Missouri. Definitely some scary shit going on down here, guys. I'm counting on my legal weed, and this is not. This is also pissing me off because like progressive mayor of St. Louis telling people not to vote for legal weed, because she didn't like the way the bill was written or whatever. Which neither do I. But like, come on, guys, got to get some legal weed up in this bitch. So yeah, either way. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, you know what would be better than having legal weed because it doesn't allow enough opportunity? Putting more and more black people in jail because we can fucking harass them and shake them down as a police department and, steal all of their shit. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. No, that does not sound like I just don't understand. It's like, yeah, let's keep putting people in fucking jail while we figure out the minutia of this legislation. It's like, no. Again, we say this all the time. The left has this massive problem where they'll let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And to those people, I just want to shake you. I just want to shake you in your fucking shit and be like, are you an idiot? You got to take what you can get and then fight for more. Okay. Take what we can get and then fight for more. That's how every successful political apparatus has moved. They get what they want and then they start asking for more. And then you fight like fucking hell for what you just asked for. And then you ask for more. That's how the Republican Party has eroded every effective thing the left has ever done in this country.
Absolutely. Also, thank you so much, Jill, for the $5. Status Coup reporting that the donors at Dr. Oz's election party looked dejected and pissed off. Ooh, that's funny. If true, that's fucking funny. I think Oz might be headed for defeat tonight, guys, which is absolutely hilarious. If true, obviously John Fetterman is not a great candidate by many metrics, but still, damn, I want Dr. Oz to fail.
Oh, I want Dr. Oz to eat shit so badly. And I did talk some shit on John Fetterman because he made me outraged during that debate. Like all kinds of stuff. Like he's been just fucking eating out of the right wing's hand with all their talking points in a way that really aggravates me. Like, oh, we need to be doing more about the police. No, let's talk about that other shit that you mentioned when you were mayor about how you give people opportunities and then you don't have to like fucking crack their head open and throw them in a concrete cell. Yeah, let's talk about that more instead of being like, I'll keep my city safe. I'm a swashbuckling motherfucker. I hate that shit. And also the fracking stuff got out of hand. Anyway, John Fetterman fell off. And on top of that, I just don't think he was like projecting success later in his campaign. And that has not anything to do with the fact he had a stroke, but just the way he was existing afterwards. So yeah, like I said, even though I predicted after that debate that he would lose, that doesn't mean that I'm like fucking stoked that Dr. Oz would win. Like, no, Dr. Oz is terrible.
Zach loves fascist Republicans. We get it, bro. You want Dr. Oz to win. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you so much, Jill, for the update.
Addicted to diet pills. What do you want from me, Gavin?
Zach loves when dogs get tortured. Shout out to Malcolm chilling over there. You should throw your camera down there and so we can see Malcolm. Come on, Malcolm. Come on, Malcolm. Aw.
He's a little scared.
What a good boy. It's okay, Malcolm. It's okay, buddy. Oh, what a sweet boy.
Look at my matching hoodie that I have with my dad. My dad has the same hoodie as me. It's very cute. We are best friends, and this is my best friend, and Gavin is my other best friend.
What a good boy. Hi, Malcolm. Oh, he's camera shy. Hello. It's okay, buddy. Oh.
Malcolm's in his teenage phase, so he's, he just wants to be left alone and hang out in his room. But it's okay. One day he's gonna recognize his star power.
That's the Lou dog of the Vanguard, guys. But also, someone asked, the problem is that our apartment has this ladder, like not stairs, but a ladder leading up from the second floor to the first, or the first floor to the second floor. And I almost called him. Yeah. Anyway, Malcolm can't get up that ladder because he's a dog. The cats can get up that ladder because they're cats and they have short legs. But Malcolm, the dog, cannot ascend that ladder. So he can't come up here. So Zach had to carry his ass up here, like fucking hauling him up the stairs, or the ladder, I mean. And also the cat and the dog get along great, or both the cats and the dog get along great. They love each other. Sally and Malcolm are besties. Ironically, the cats do not get along well. The cats hate each other's fucking guts and will literally kill each other if they're in the same room. So they have to be like permanently segregated.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I got home from work the other night. I was closing the bar down. I get home at like 1:00 in the morning, and I open the door, and Malcolm's like wagging his tail in the bedroom, and then I just see the cat Cherry just also like run out from underneath the bed and go like, and then like run around and like start like stretching and like coming around my feet. And I was like, yeah, I guess you guys were hanging out the entire time I was gone at work today when the door was closed. My bad. I had no idea you were in here. But yeah, the cats get along better with the dog than they do with each other, which is honestly nice because you can just kind of rotate which one of the cats are sequestered to their own room, and then the rest of the pets vibe with each other. But yeah, for some reason, I remember when we got Cherry and she was being a little bit confrontational with Sally and vice versa. I was like, Gavin, it'll be fine. Just let them out together. They're going to fucking hiss. And then, no, every single time for like a year, they just go at each other. And we've learned that that's just the way it's going to be.
Yep. The cats are not happy with each other. They hate each other. Which is a bummer because they're both so cute and they're both so nice to everyone else except for each other. Thank you so much, Mario Pozo, for the $4.99. Any idea how progressive Maxwell Frost, first Zoomer in Congress, will be? I've been getting hella text messages from. I've also been getting blown up by the fucking do nothing Democrats. These fucking demon rats. Anyway, also I apologize for Texas. Yeah. I think he's pretty progressive. He seems pretty progressive. I think he's endorsed by Bernie Sanders. That being said, I mean, we've seen the fact that the progressives in Congress have not been terribly effective. So it's not like I have my hopes up that he's going to bring the revolution or whatever. But I'm glad he won. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad he won. But I mean, just don't get your hopes up, right?
Yeah, I mean, you no need to apologize for Texas. Gavin and I have oscillated between the states of Kansas and Missouri throughout our life, so there would be some apologizing to do. Believe me. But yeah, I mean, hopefully he's cool. Like I said, the bummer is that we won't really get to know because there's not going to be shit for him to do over the next 2 years while the Democrats have no power in Congress, but they do have the veto power of the presidency. So who knows? But shout out to you, Mariposa. It'll be interesting to see, and obviously it's better to have a Zoomer in Congress than no Zoomer in Congress. You know, at least somebody that's not got to remember to take their fucking Alzheimer's medication, dementia pills. You know what I mean? Like this guy will still be with it all the way, so that's good. That wasn't an ableist remark, that was an ageist remark, so you guys remember that, boomers. But shout out to you, Mariposa. Here's to some treats for Malcolm's gonna be super excited. Actually, we did an entire week of vegan eating last week over here at the Plant Guard, and then last night, and just like a weird craving, I made an entire pot roast after vegan week was over, so I'll feed some of that to Malcolm, and he does enjoy that. Although I fucking scared the shit out of me last night because I had big chuck roast and it has that like big piece of fat at the end that never disappears, and I was like, oh fuck, Malcolm will love that, and I just handed it to him. Then he choked on it, and I had to damn near do the fucking Heimlich maneuver, and he like throws up all on the floor, and I'm like, god damn it, I gotta fucking clean this shit up. But anyway, I was like, he was making like some serious gagging noises, dude. I was freaking out. I was like trying to reach in his mouth and pull it out. And then he just like throws up this entire fucking piece of fat that he swallowed with like fucking, 15 or so bits of fucking. Anyway, that was what went down last night. But one more quick update on the election. It does look like, BW in Wisconsin. I don't know if you're still listening, but it does look like the tides have turned and Ron Johnson is now up in Wisconsin. With 64% reporting, he's now taking the lead by some 20,000 votes. Again, John Fetterman still up by about 55,000 votes in Pennsylvania with 69% reporting. And then with 80% reporting, it looks like still about a 20,000 vote lead for Herschel Walker. Again, that could flip 49.3% of the vote. It'll be if Herschel Walker can get to 50.1%, that'll be that. If not, it'll go to the runoff. But with 50% reporting in Arizona, it does look like Mark Kelly's looking pretty good. So I guess that's some more good news. Nebraska looks like it might raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. That's tight. Shout out to the homies over in Nebraska, of all places to holler out Nebraska. Gavin and I just had some Nebraskan sushi not that long ago, and believe me, it was actually fire. I was so sus when they were, no, this place is opened up in Nebraska, but now it's in Kansas City, and you're like, oh, let's get some sushi here. It's bang.
It was still like Japanese sushi. Just the restaurant was started in fucking Nebraska. It's not like it was Nebraskan style sushi. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're right. Excuse me, because of all the world-renowned sushi places that just start in landlocked Nebraska.
I'm just saying that was some dank sushi, bro. It wasn't.
That's why it was shocking, because it started in the middle of fucking nowhere in Nebraska.
Also, thank you, Alex, for the 1 plant growing hippies. LOL. Thank you for the super chat, Alex. Did we talk about growing plants? Did we grow plants?
Oh, I call this the Plant Guard because we'd been eating vegan.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what? I was like, unfortunately, I do not have much of a green thumb. But thank you so much, Alex. Really appreciate that. Also, thank you, Kevin A, for the $4.99. Regarding Mariposa's question, read Ryan Grimm's Intercept article on Frost switching from pro-Palestine. Oh, come on, man. I fucking hate that shit when they capitulate to AIPAC. What a bummer. What a fucking bummer. Fetterman did the same shit, came out here simping for Israel because he was terrified of getting smeared by AIPAC, which is a valid concern given the fact that AIPAC has fucking destroyed many progressive candidates, including Nina Turner. But that doesn't make it any more justifiable to simp for Israel.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we should just have guys like Gavin run for Congress. I mean, AIPAC has a bounty of fucking clips that they can pull out of context to smear this man as a vile anti-Semite, an enemy to the people of Israel. So there's no reason for him to backpedal, right? All he can do is further entrench himself in the fucking cause. Whereas a guy like Frost apparently felt like he had a lane Cherry does not want to be featured right now. She's camera shy. He thought he had a lane, and that's what's bullshit about it. It's like, you're a Zoomer. in the year of our Lord 2022, you're going to go and sim for an apartheid state? Like, this is a no-brainer. It's not a fucking hard call to make. You look at the situation, you get like this much data, and it reveals so much. It's not anti-Semitic to criticize a fucking government. Okay? Like, I don't have a problem with Jewish people at all, but I got a fat problem with Israel, right? And the fucking oppression that they're employing on the Palestinians. I just read an article. We're talking about legal weed tonight. What's crazy is that in Israel, in the like, if you're, you know, a non-Palestinian person in Israel, you can smoke weed in a bunch of cafes. You can just open roll and whatnot. But if you try and smoke weed in the West Bank, on the Gaza Strip, and you're Palestinian, then it's a huge crime, and it's just a fucking clear as day double standard for how you know, Palestinian Israelis are forced to live under occupation, and the non-Palestinian Israelis. You know what I'm saying?
Also, bro, it's not quite official yet, but according to the election center, John Fetterman is the projected winner in the Pennsylvania Senate election. He will defeat Republican Mehmet Oz. Woo! Again, guys, I'm no simp for John Fetterman, but I can't say I'm terribly disappointed by this result if true. Holy shit.
Yeah, it looks like it will still be close, at least from what I'm seeing on the New York Times, because it looks like with 71% reporting, Fetterman's only up by 45,000 votes. But maybe with the district, and being the way they are, that's enough for them to call it. It'll definitely still be a close race. And yeah, look, it's better that Oz won. He doesn't even fucking live in Pennsylvania. I saw a hilarious tweet from Ryan Grimm the other day where he was like, if polls are to believe, this is going to be a horrible outcome for Mehmet Oz. He might actually have to move to Pennsylvania if he wins the election, So fortunately, for Dr. Oz's sake, he can, stay comfortable at home in New Jersey.
Also, Sir Switch Crookington, that's some disinformation / misinformation. AOC did not lose her election. We already reported on that, so I don't know what you're doing up here in our chat, spreading this misinformation, but no, AOC did not lose. But yeah, it does look like, at least according to the election center, it's not like New York Times is calling this shit, but I don't know, guys. Seems like Fetterman's going to pull this one out. Mark my fucking words. Also, Mike from PA, who is from PA, despite his other flaws, thinks John Fetterman has got this. Just too many votes left in Southeast. He's got over 50%. I don't see the votes for Oz. Again, no love for Mike from PA, but he is from PA. So I guess we got to trust what he's saying on this one, right? He is an authority.
Yeah, I mean, good, I guess. Yeah. All I can do is just keep singing like a Pearl Jam, She dreams in color, she dreams. That's all I can think of is I can't find a Fetterman. I can't believe they didn't do that for his entire campaign. There was not one can't find a Fetterman commercial. I'm just saying, left that one hanging on the vine.
Yeah, I think Fetterman's got this shit, bro. I think Fetterman has this shit, which is crazy given that debate performance. But it looks like Dr. Oz will be defeated, guys. Calling it right now. Vanguard projects John Fetterman, winner, Pennsylvania.
Bucking the orthodoxy of everyone else that we've just read. Gavin stands alone in his projection that John Fetterman will win.
Yep, you heard it here first, guys. Oh god. Yeah, New York Times saying Pennsylvania Senate race leaning towards John Fetterman. I think he's got this, bro. I think he's got this one in the bag. That's crazy shit. Also, Steve Kornacki is apparently out here saying that it's possible the GOP doesn't take control of the House of Representatives. Was Michael Moore right, Zach?
No, I'm looking at the map right now, and I'm thinking that it's very likely that the Republicans are going to fucking take the House. So, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm looking at the map right here, and I'm thinking that they will. So, who knows? Maybe we're going to be wrong. Maybe Steve Kornacki is the only one, but I think that I think that they're still going to hold on to it. Like we said earlier, it's not going to be as overwhelming as a lot of people projected. But with the redistricting and with everything, I think it's going to be very, very hard for the Dems to hold on to the House of Representatives. But with people like Boebert losing their seat, like that's fucking wild. That is definitely unexpected.
Right? If Boebert loses her seat, that's fucking crazy, bro. Any news on Sharice Davids? Do you want to look that up, Zach? Yeah, it does look like John Fetterman's going to pull it out, guys. Fucking crazy, huh? Fucking crazy. Also, shout out to you, Hysteric Raider, for the $2. Could be a boomer zoomer mind swap tech.
Sharice held on to it.
Sharice held on to it. Wow. Sharice Davids of Kansas is apparently, what's that? The 3rd district, right?
Yeah.
Sharice Davids of the 3rd district, aka Zach and I's home district in Kansas. Looks like Sharice Davids holding onto her seat. That's crazy.
Yeah, this is so weird because they fucked with that district. They made it way more Republican than it was, but it is still that like ultra suburban part of Kansas, right? Like that 3rd district is like the most affluent part of the like Kansas City metro area. I'm pretty sure. You know, I mean, the schools there, very fucking good. I don't know. I just think that Sharice Davids actually does represent a real suburban kind of politics, even though it's one I don't really agree with. I thought for sure she was going to lose to Amanda Adkins, though. So shout out to Sharice for getting that done, even though she's a lying snake that took a bunch of dark money to defeat the homie Brent Welder.
Yeah, fuck Sharice Davids, but but yeah, I'm glad she held on to that seat. Not gonna lie. And shout out to you, Hysteric Raider. Sometimes I do feel like a boomer zoomer, you know. Sometimes I bitch about like, oh, fucking movies these days aren't like they used to be. I feel like a boomer myself.
Somebody should change the Oklahoma University fight song and to just call it Boomer Zoomer. I think that could catch on. Shout out Jack Harlow, get on that shit. I don't know who's gonna write that one. You know the song Boomer Sooner. Anyway.
But yeah, it is cool. Like, I'm glad that Sharice Davids hung on. I'm glad that Laura Kelly hung on in Kansas. Definitely good news, guys, in that regard. Like I said, red wave, perhaps. Red tsunami, doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. I don't know about that red tsunami, guys. I have yet to see that shit. Also, good news out of Kentucky. Let's check this out. Kentucky coming out strong for abortion rights. Yeah. Abortion rights winning by about 10% in Kentucky. Can't find a much more deep red state than Kentucky, guys. Obviously, we just reported that Rand Paul handily won re-election. But abortion prevails. Abortion prevails, guys. A referendum in Kentucky backed by anti-abortion advocates, similar to the one in Kansas, would make it virtually impossible to effectively challenge anti-abortion legislation in court, amending the state constitution to clarify that it does not protect the right to abortion. If the ballot initiative fails, abortion rights groups may have a better shot at blocking Kentucky's abortion ban in court, and it looks like it has failed. So yeah, fuck that shit. Abortion rights prevail in yet another deep red state. And I thought this was an important point as well, made from the PSL, if I can find it. Here we go. Abortion rights are more popular than Democrats. Look at Kentucky. All the outlets are calling for Rand Paul in the Senate race. He's currently up 54 to 46, but in the state referendum on abortion rights are ahead by the same margin, 54 to 46. So much like in Kansas, it looks like even in a deep red state, the people want abortion rights. Very interesting results coming out of Kentucky, guys.
I mean, it's just super antiquated fucking horseshit Christianity politics. Like, that's not selling to people anymore. People do not care about your religious imposition and their fucking freedoms. Okay, they just don't. Even in red states, they're gonna be like, hey man, you have the freedom to never get a fucking abortion. You have the freedom to go to church every single day. You can worship whoever the fuck you want to. You can not drink alcohol, not smoke pot, not eat pork, not do whatever in the fuck you want to. Be vegan, do carnivore diet, do whatever the hell you want to. That can be your religion, your philosophy, whatnot. But stop imposing on me. The don't tread on me philosophy is finally starting to get more rounded out to where it benefits people. And is, at least, say what you will about it, a fucking consistent ideology. So, yeah, I mean, I think that this is just a final blow, even though, the Supreme Court, the massively anti-democratic institution.
Can you guys hear Zach? Sounds like his audio just went out.
Yeah, I don't know if I can hear myself, but
Can you guys hear Zach? Can you guys hear Zach?
we are building a religion. We are doing it different. No.
I think your Zach's experiencing some technical difficulties over here.
Oh, I know what it was. I fucking touched
There you
the
go.
stupid mute button on my microphone while I was getting after it. Either way, long story short, people fucking care about independent liberties. What I was saying is that the fucking don't tread on me fuckers have decided to be at least somewhat consistent in their values, and now they're like, yeah, don't tread on anybody else either. And it's like, all right, based. We can at least work with that. I can use your misguided libertarianism to my advantage on a couple of these issues. And it looks like in the state of Kentucky, that's the way it's shaken down.
Straight up. Also, it does look like Ilhan Omar has secured re-election in the great state of Minnesota, representing Minnesota's 5th congressional district. Sorry, guys, I'm pretty drunk. But yeah, it does look like Ilhan Omar coasting to re-election. Again, pretty predictable, but still, she is re-elected for a 3rd term in Minnesota.
Tight.
Based.
Yeah, pretty much knew that was going to happen after she won the Democratic primary. That's why they poured so much money into the actual primary to unseat her, because that district in Minnesota is going to pretty reliably go blue. But yeah, I'm not
Do you
sure.
remember that Republican they tried to put up against her who was like, she was like another, never mind. They put up some Republican that was like the Waluigi of Ilhan Omar. It was like another like black Muslim woman that kind of looked like Ilhan Omar, but was like a fascist Republican. And they tried to run her against Ilhan, and people were like, "This is like the Waluigi of Ilhan Omar."
I vaguely remember that. I do, actually. Now that you mention it, that does ring a bell. But yeah, was there anything else that you wanted to get to before we I don't imagine that we're going to get a ton of more definitive results over the rest of the evening, as it's now, past 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh fuck. It does look like Gretchen Whitmer has been reelected in Michigan. Projected winner in the Michigan governor election. She will defeat Republican Tudor Dixon, another Tulsi endorsed Republican. Tulsi taking fat L's tonight. So it does look like Tudor Dixon has been defeated in Michigan by Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who will be coasting to re-election as well.
Fortunately for her, she had her blue chip Chuck Grassley in there to, balance out the equation and, cash out positively at the end of the night. I think she's 2 for 2 on endorsements that I've counted. Or 2 out of 4, excuse me.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just checking to see if there's any other fucking results. Don't want to miss anything. Can't believe Fetterman's gonna pull it out, bro.
Yeah, I'm slightly surprised that they went ahead and called that one already, just because I'm looking at the like map on New York Times, and I mean it's like 40,000 votes, but I guess they must just be really confident that the votes that are coming in from that region of Pennsylvania, which makes sense, it's near Philly, that's probably going to go blue. But yeah, very very close race. But yeah, good news that Fetterman pulled it out instead of Mehmet Oz, the fucking Trump endorsed carpetbagger.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think it's been officially called. I just think this is the election center projecting it. And that's just like some random Twitter account. So it's not like the New York Times has called it. I guess this particular source is calling it. But I don't think it's official yet. It just looks like he's going to pull it out probably, which is why they're like, we're calling it, you know?
Yeah. Right on, right on, right on. All right, all right, all right. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the map. 86% reporting in Georgia, you know, and right now it's looking really neck and neck is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing 49% to 49% coin flip toss up in Georgia. I'm imagining that means it's going to a runoff. Yeah, NYT needle has shifted to Fetterman is likely to win based. This is the best outcome it probably could have been for Democrats tonight.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I feel like we've done a good couple hours now. If there's nothing else to talk about, I guess we can probably get out of here, right?
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow if there's any new news about anything crazy that went down.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a fun time, huh? Got a little bit drunk on stream, had some fun talking about these results. A lot of interesting stuff coming out. Again, doesn't look like it's going to be quite the red tsunami that was predicted. Looks like Lauren Boebert might lose, which is pretty funny. Dr. Oz might lose, which is pretty funny. So, also, we were talking about this earlier in the stream. So before we get out of here, let's throw this up here. Republican Lee Zeldin has officially lost the governorship in New York by a fat margin too. It looked like the polls were tightening, right? Doesn't look like it was that tight. Looks like Kathy Hochul pulled it out by like 20%. So, yeah, once again, red wave, perhaps. Red tsunami. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I was trying to think earlier in our conversation who the last governor of New York was that was a Republican, and it looks like that guy that was in 2007, Governor George E. Pataki. So it's been quite a while since they've elected a Republican governor there. Though, you know, hey, things can always change. So I was pretty confident that Kathy Hochul would pull it out, even though she's nothing special as a Democrat, obviously. But anyway, shout out to everybody that tuned in for a little bit of election coverage tonight. It was a fun time. This has been a decidedly underwhelming midterm election and a decidedly underwhelming Biden presidency so far. So par for the course there. You guys are all super special for giving a single fuck about this, because I imagine that when we look at it all in the rear view mirror a few weeks from now, we're going to be like, wow, that was a pathetically lackluster midterm election cycle. And this will be a mere footnote in history that is relatively meaningless. But shout out to all of you for participating anyway.
Yeah. Shout out to all you guys. Also, shout out to the patron community. Big shout out to the patrons for keeping it real, for supporting the show, for making the Vanguard possible. We wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. So thank you guys so much for the support. Links in the description, like I said. If you'd like to have your own name up there on the shout out screen, if you enjoy our content and would like to support the show, hit up that link in the description. Patreon.com/the Vanguard channel. We do like to start and end all of our live streams with a big old shout out to the patrons. So this is what that is. Huge shout out to you guys. Wouldn't be able to do the show without you.
Yeah, peace out, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight, and we'll be back with a little bit more updates. Obviously, this was a little bit of low-key election coverage. Gavin and I here, you know, we're taking this in just like you guys are. So yeah, shout out to everybody for hanging out with us, vibing with us. It was a good night. Cheers to you all.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Had a lot of fun tonight. It was great fun. Thank you, Michael, for chatting. The dude should have campaigned an MO. That's funny. Love a good leftist live stream. Thank you for tuning in, Danielle. Really appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Really, really do. It was a great time. And again, shout out to the patrons. Thank you, Charlie. Glad you appreciated the independent election coverage. And we'll see you guys all tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, peace out, everybody. Take care.
Yeah, take care, guys. Really, really appreciate you all for tuning in tonight. Huge shout out to the patrons. We'll see you tomorrow.